Go for the years. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
What is up, everybody? How we doing today? Good to see you all. Hope you're doing well. I am Rob Ellis. These are my compadres, Derek Gunn and Barrett Brooks. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. What's up, fellas? How we doing?
What's going on, gentlemen?
All good.
Barrett, did you miss me this weekend, Barrett?
Absolutely. You and Rob. In fact, I was stalking Rob on his radio shows. Calling and texting him and stuff. Yeah, man.
I love it. I love any. I made a Barrett. I called the Kansas State Wildcats the Fighting Barrett Brooks.
The Fighting Barrett Brooks. I heard that
on my radio show.
I heard it. I honestly heard it. My mom was like, "I'm like, yeah, that's Rob." Oh, okay.
They were the Fighting Barrett Brooks and went down in flames this weekend. Oh my goodness. Hey, I reached out to Barrett and said, man, I feel for you, man. I thought K-State had that game, but if you guys remember on Friday, I told you, I said Alabama and Houston are not going to the Final Four.
Yeah,
I just thought it was so wide open.
This is the first time. This is the first time in history that a team that's not ranked 3 and above has been in the Final Four.
Isn't that something?
Isn't it crazy? It is. It's wild.
It shows you the parity that's out there this year. I mean, Duke and North Carolina, both for stretches, were both out of the top 25 this season. I'd never seen that before.
Yeah,
Duke caught fire and slipped in the back door and finished like 22 or something like that. But
they did. Yeah, it's been the weirdest year ever. I mean, it has, and a lot of it is transfer portal and NIL and all that.
Yeah. For the exact same reason, what's his name left Villanova is the reason why there's so much parity in the league.
Yeah, it's gonna be fascinating, man. But I think your team's in good shape with your coach. Jerome Tang is the real deal.
Everybody wants a piece of Tang right now.
There you go.
I don't know who I'm rooting for in the Final Four, to be honest, because like I told you guys, if I don't have a rooting interest in the team, I root for underdogs. Well, I lived in San Diego and I covered San Diego State football for a while. So the fact those dudes are pit bulls on defense, they go 9 deep.
Physical,
their defense is sick.
Tough. Yeah.
You know, do I root for them? Do I root for Florida Atlantic, which is the story of the tournament so far?
Mm-hmm.
Who do I root for?
I'm rooting for Miami. I told you guys, my son played with Isaiah Wong, who's the ACC Player of the Year.
In
high school. He's a quiet kid. He is like a flatliner kind of kid. Nobody even knows he has a heartbeat, but he had 12 of his 14 in the second half to help Miami advance. So I'm rooting for Miami. But I love the FAU story too. It's great. It's great.
So
I'm not rooting for Connecticut. Let me be clear.
I was just about to say, the one team that scares me in the Final Four that I don't want to win is UConn. What they did to Gonzaga, do that to Gonzaga. They blew them out by 28 points. I mean,
they're averaging shoot. Gunner, they're winning by 22.5 points per game.
I'm watching them. Dude, they can run, they can defend, they can shoot.
They have it all.
I mean, they're just blowing up people left and right, man. Yeah. But I would love to see them play San Diego State defense versus offense. Like, ooh, that would be a good game.
Yeah, it would. It's going to be – look, it's fun. No matter what it is, it's different at least this year. So it's going to be kind of cool to watch. That's for sure.
John Dickerson. I'm going to call Rob Little Sills while he's rooting for Miami.
Yeah, I got to root for my man Isaiah. I got it. But I actually – other than like Danny Hurley's exhausting on the sideline, just nonstop whining. So anybody but Connecticut is who I'm rooting for. So that's just me. I see Fitness Rebel is touring Ireland. I sent her a tweet. She needs to go to the Brazen Head Inn if she's still near Dublin.
Yeah,
it's the oldest pub. It was established in 1198. It's the oldest pub in Dublin. Yeah, so she needs to go there. Great drinks and great food too.
Did you see the tweet she sent us, me and Barrett?
Yes.
About it's her and her sister about to take a whiskey tour, and she sent a picture of the place they're going in. I said, I hope you remember it, when you come out.
I think she will. I think she will. Yeah. So we got some big news, and we'll get into Eagles and Sixers and Phillies because there's a lot happening. We have Rich Hoffman from The Athletic. He's going to join us at 1:30. We'll talk about the Sixers in the game tonight against the Nuggets, which is going to be a big one. Embiid and the Joker going head to head. But how about this, guys?
Oh, there she is.
Yeah, so there she is, Fitness Rebel. We got you. Right before we came on, we see everybody, by the way. We see Chris, we see Dak, we see Mr. Taz, we see John, of course. We see everybody. We see you all, and we appreciate you all. I hope you had a good weekend. Before we came on, we were actually in our show meeting, and word came down, and there's no speculation here. There was a statement put out by Lamar Jackson himself that he requested a trade in the earlier portion of March away from the Ravens. I've been telling you guys from the jump, man, I didn't think this was going to happen. There's just too much bad blood here with these two. And finally it's come to fruition now. So the way it works is he's tagged. So if you trade it for him, you'd have to give the Ravens 2 first-rounders. And Barrett made a point. We were talking about this during the show meeting. You know, if he wants out, how do you handle this thing? Do you just get rid of him? What's up, Father Sean O'Neill? I see you. I see you, Father O'Neill. Would you just take the tag off of him and then let him walk? But man, I need huge reinforcements coming back to me if I'm them. But then again, what do you do if
it lingers on to the
if he refuses to play for you? Then it's a whole thing. It's just ugly.
Well, then it's like it's like what the Eagles went through with Carson. They're just gonna have that salary cap hit sitting right there, and that's a salary cap hit for about $32 million.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the tag. The tag, franchise tag is $32 million. So he'll be there in the locker room, or he'll be on the team still, but that's a roster spot you can't fill, and you're just paying that money. So it makes sense to trade him, take the tag off him. I mean, find a way in which you can get some value for him. Take the tag off and trade him for something. But something's better than nothing. Whether it's one first round pick or whatever, at least get some value for it. Because just to have him sitting in that locker room for $32 million and him not playing, and that roster spot being occupied by him is no bueno, bro. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of posturing here. And we see this with a lot of players.
Because it is early.
A lot of players, yes, it is early. A lot of players come out and say, all right, trade me. And then all of a sudden, a few months later, they get a deal done. John Harbaugh, I started checking him up more on the story. And John Harbaugh came out and said it again, that we are planning to move forward with Lamar Jackson. We are building around Lamar Jackson. Now, when you look at what Baltimore has left on its quarterback depth chart, Anthony Brown and Tyler Huntley, John Harbaugh in that AFC North does not want to go into battle this fall with either one of those as his frontline quarterbacks. He has an overall nucleus to compete for that division title. Lamar Jackson, he can spout off all he wants. The bottom line is, even though the money's guaranteed, if he doesn't play, he doesn't get paid. Are you going to give up? Are you going to stand up? Now, let's be honest here. When push comes to shove, no matter how unhappy you are you going to snub your nose up at $32 million under a franchise tag and push comes to shove? Because if you don't play, you don't get paid.
And the history, Gunner, is when you sit, it doesn't work out well for you.
No.
You miss an entire season. I don't care who you are.
Baltimore holds the trump cards.
Yep.
Are you going to just sit and snub your nose up at $32 million?
Yeah.
That's money you never recoup. I don't care if you get a $200 million contract down the road. You don't recoup that one season you lost.
Yeah.
No. I don't get it.
I saw this is interesting because, you know, I always, Joe Banner usually jumps in on Twitter with some of this stuff. This is about an hour ago. So he tweeted out, Lamar has acknowledged the Ravens made him a 3-year fully guaranteed deal. You know, I'd like to know I don't know what the numbers are exactly, how much it is and all that, but
I believe it was 133
for 3 years, 133.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, if he really thinks that no teams are giving you Deshaun Watson guarantees anymore, that's not going to happen. So I just wonder where this is headed. And this is where I always keep getting back to the agent thing. Like he's not with someone who's been through the wars before with this stuff. You know, he's kind of flying by the seat of his pants with it. And I don't know that makes this better, worse, more challenging. I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. That's what makes this bad because, number one, for the last 2 years, you haven't been there for your team in the second half of the season. Exactly. That's number one. Number two, unless you have a degree or you've sat down and you've been part of negotiating contracts at this level, you should have somebody outside of you doing that.
Yep.
You can want all you want, but you got to know the climate in which you do it. Now, I understand you can also do this. You can go to the table, send them they send you an offer. You take your offer and you go to a lawyer. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. He takes the offer and goes and talks to a lawyer.
Yep.
Then the lawyer will give him feedback and then he goes back to him. I'm sure that's
I hope so, Barrett. I really hope there's at least that going on.
Yes, I believe wholeheartedly that's going on. But, and I say this, but when you deal in situations like that, you are getting the blunt of the realness of what it is in meeting rooms, in those front office,
like
buildings.
Arbitration cases where one side is going to say, "Hey, you're great, but you don't do this," and that's why you let your agent.
It's a harsh truth. Exactly, it's a harsh truth for what they really see. I've been in coaching meeting rooms where I thought players were outstanding players, but you get inside a meeting room, and now I'm a coach, and I got my coach's hat on, and listening to these coaches talk about the players are supposed to be leaders on the team, and I'm sitting back like, wow, I mean, are you really talking about these guys like this? Like, they don't like this guy in any sense of the word. They flat out, clowning this guy, and I thought that was their dude, and then they get on TV and be like, all right, everything's cool. So I've seen it from all sides of it. I've seen it from the business standpoint of sitting down, talking to scouts and talking to executives. I've been in the classroom where, we're after we get to, giving the game plan out, and then we're sitting down, we're talking about the players and how they're going to do this and that, and, hearing the harsh realness of what they really think and why they're not doing things. And I've been on the players' side where I'm thinking my worth is a lot more than what, they even see me as, So this is tough, man. And for him to be, indoctrinized in all of that, and it really sucks for him because now he really sees what they think about him.
Yeah, I'm going to give you the quote, Derek. You referenced this, okay? So they had the owners' meetings are underway in Arizona, right? So you have owners there, you have head coaches there, et cetera. So John Harbaugh is there. So he was asked directly about the tweet. Yep. He said, quote, or about what Lamar put out there, the statement. He said, quote, "I haven't seen the tweet. That's an ongoing process. I'm following it very closely, just like everybody else is here, and looking forward to a resolution. I'm excited, thinking about Lamar all the time, thinking about him as our quarterback. We're building our offense around that idea. I'm just looking forward to getting back to football, and I'm confident that it's going to happen," whatever. And then Harbaugh kind of blew it off like it was sort of a social media thing. This isn't just social media speculation, John. This is your quarterback saying, "I want out." So I know he's trying to downplay this, but there's more to this.
No question.
But I'll go back to what I said before. We see posturing all the time with players, and then all of a sudden there's a resolution at some point. And on the other side, I agree wholeheartedly with what Barrett was saying. When it comes down to numbers, you find out exactly what an organization thinks of you. But from Lamar's perspective, I don't. But now, if the last contract number we heard, 3-year, $133 million guaranteed was what it is, it puts him in the mix of the top 5 or 6 quarterbacks. But if I'm in Lamar Jackson's shoes, I have a problem with Kyler Murray getting $230 million, $160 guaranteed. Kyler Murray hasn't done any more than I have. I can even go so far as say I have a problem with Josh Allen getting $258, $150 million guaranteed. As Josh Allen is, he still hasn't done any more than what he has, except he's played a few more games. He's stayed healthier in that regard. I have a major problem with Deshaun Watson getting $230 million guaranteed when Deshaun Watson embarrassed himself and the organization with his off-the-field antics, and he missed a full year, and yet Cleveland still gave him that kind of money. But when you look beyond that point, and you can't compare yourself, you look at that contract, $450 million, $141 million guaranteed. Well, you can't put yourself in a Patrick Mahomes stratosphere because that man's won 3 league MVPs and 2 Super Bowls and been to 3 Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes is on a different plane from everybody, and his numbers are not the top numbers. Aaron Rodgers, who's 40 years old, has the overall top guaranteed contract in the National Football League, that 3-year deal he signed. But Should he be paid any less than Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Allen, just based on overall performance?
Let me play devil's advocate.
Those teams they haven't gone to Super Bowl. They haven't won anything.
Yeah. So if you're asking me, do I want Lamar Jackson over Kyler Murray? Yes. Do I think Lamar Jackson should make more than Kyler Murray? Yes. Not even close. Okay. But I think the Ravens are looking at that like, well, just because they made a mistake in Arizona or Cleveland gave out this ridiculous deal doesn't mean we're going to do the same thing. Like that's how organizations think.
Well, let me be a devil's advocate from a player standpoint. All right. It's not a mistake that Deshaun Watson got guaranteed money. It's not a mistake that the quarterback from Minnesota got all their contract guaranteed. It's not a mistake. It's the evolution of what these quarterbacks are getting, and they're now starting to reap the benefits of what the three other sports are doing right now. What's stopping our union from going out and making sure that our contracts are guaranteed? Because they're doing it in baseball, they're doing it in basketball, they're doing it in hockey, and there lies what the players are thinking. And in order for this thing to become what it's supposed to be, there are people that have to, fall on the sword and be basically, they basically just got to say, all right, I'm all in, or we're just not going to make this progress in it. And when you look at Lamar is a big enough name. Lamar is a big enough star that they can't afford to have him sitting on the bench. They can't afford to have, because franchise quarterbacks don't just come a dime a dozen. In fact, there aren't 32 franchise quarterbacks in the NFL.
No.
There's not 20 franchise quarterbacks in the NFL. Mm-hmm. There are maybe 7 to 10 franchise quarterbacks right now in the NFL. And when you look at their worth, the organizations that are continuing competing and dominating the NFL are the franchise quarterbacks that should be getting these franchise type of deals. And that's where he's saying, I am a franchise quarterback. And I will say he is a franchise quarterback. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm saying he is. So why can't he get paid according like a franchise quarterback?
Well, I hear you. I think you make good points. I think I guess the counter from Baltimore's standpoint, I don't want to sit here and keep being the organizational guy because I want football players.
No, but the string needs to hear it, because this is what there's no wrong or right that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and look, you guys know where I'm at. I want football players to get every penny they can get.
Absolutely.
They destroy themselves physically. But I think Baltimore would probably say, we gave them what we offered 3 years at whatever what was the number, Gunner? $130?
133.
133. Yeah.
At that number. And then, we feel like that's fair. And then Lamar wants a longer term deal. And I get that from Lamar's stand. Lamar's still a young guy, man. So anyway, I think both sides have an argument here. The fact that it drug into this year was a bad sign for me, that he was out there playing in an NFL season on the last year. This is why there's no way this happens with the Eagles.
Saying that though,
not the Eagles organization smarter than this.
But then why isn't Jalen signed right now?
I think
Howie has already been out and said that he knows he's going to have to pay out the yin yang for him. What are they discussing right now? Why hasn't he gotten this deal right now? I think it's because they're trying to see where the guaranteed line is and where with the years on this contract, where that line lies also.
Some of it could be as simple as I want to see what Lamar gets.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it would almost be it would almost be unconstitutional for his agent if she allows that to happen. It's almost like she should wait. If she doesn't wait,
his mother,
then his agent. If she doesn't wait, then she's done a horrible job of being his agent. If she doesn't see,
I'm sorry, you meant Jalen. I thought you were still talking about Lamar.
No, I'm talking about Jalen.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm kind of flip. I'm trying to, when you talk about the Eagles and how they're approaching this.
Yeah,
this is big because his agent should be like, look, sit back, sit on your hands, Jalen. Right now, just be comfortable with what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. You're going to get paid. We know you're going to get paid. But we got to see what Lamar gets because there's too much guaranteed money out there. And the game that you play, the style of game that you play is going to dictate how many years they're going to give you, and how much guaranteed money they're going to give you. So we want to see what the precedence is with Lamar, who plays a much more
wide open
reckless game.
Yeah.
Almost reckless.
That's
game
another reason why this is complicated with Lamar.
Exactly.
Is his playing style.
Yep.
And I think the Eagles, if they're business people, they could make that argument to some extent with Jalen. I don't think Jalen is nearly as risky as Lamar, but Jalen's missed time the last 2 years as a starter.
From an organizational standpoint, if I'm Baltimore, I'm not giving Lamar more than a 3-year contract. In 2021, he missed 4 games. 2022, he missed 5 games. That reckless play is starting to take a toll on his body.
And he's getting older, which is going to be harder to recover from this stuff.
He's 26, but still.
How many games he missed in 2022?
He missed 5 games.
I thought he missed more than that.
No, he played in 12. Now, he may not have finished that 12th game, but he played in 12.
Okay. The last so 5. It was the last 5 of the season, too.
Yeah, so he missed 5 plus.
That's the last 2 years, right?
Yeah, well,
he missed the last
year before that, he missed 4.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So that reckless nature of his, which is phenomenal to watch from a fan perspective.
But that's his game, though. That's his problem.
That's his game. But from a business standpoint, I'm not giving you Deshaun Watson money. You may not be there at the end to see it.
Okay.
And then we're on the hook.
Okay,
we're on the hook for this money.
Well, think about this then. Okay, then. How about I not play that style of game and you just get a generic Lamar?
That's fine. Then we'll build our offense around a generic Lamar. Then
I don't know if generic Lamar
is he worth that then?
Well enough.
Yes, is he worth that then from a production standpoint to pay him though?
He's worth to be paid one of the top quarterbacks in the league.
Here's the other part of this, guys.
But that nature makes him
susceptible to not being there to finish that contract.
But it also makes him the franchise quarterback that he is. That's like Jalen Hurts.
I understand it.
Like Jalen Hurts.
But from a business perspective, I have to look at this objectively. I don't want my franchise guy sitting on the bench and I'm paying him $45 million. Now that's not a knock against him. That's not a knock. I'm not knocking him for his style of play. I love his style of play. I can't wait to watch a Lamar Jackson play.
But you see, you can't say that then. You can't say that because his style of play in which he's dynamic is when he's out there playing in reckless abandonment. When he's out there playing the game in which he's going to get in first downs and running the way he runs.
Okay.
You can't say, all right, I want you to go out there and lead my franchise and go out there and play to the best of your ability. But then you be like, all right, well, don't get hurt.
It's
so tough. You know
it is. I just said I believe he should be one of the top paid quarterbacks in the game.
Absolutely.
But when I look at the numbers, he's missed 9 plus games over the last 2 seasons. And I just pulled up, okay, what are we getting from Lamar? Okay, 2021. He has 16 touchdowns and 13 interceptions.
Yeah.
Wow.
His QB
rating was 87.
He's not a great thrower. He's not.
No. That's the difference between him and Jalen.
Jalen's a better passer. And the other thing is, guys, it's all about leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know that the teams are really going to knocking down his door to give him these kind of insane contract? I don't know that they are.
Well, let me say this then. All right. When I look at Lamar and I look at the team he's on, how many games did he win last year?
Who?
The Ravens.
Baltimore last year, they ended up winning 10 games, 10-7.
Oh, 10-7.
And he won all the games, right?
No, they won some without him.
They won some without him. They lost their last 2, but they won some without him.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. The games he won more games for them.
Yes.
And you have to compensate him for that aspect of it. He wins more games if he's on the field.
Yes.
He wills those games that they win. Sometimes he's doing it by his damn self. And that's where the problem is also.
Yeah, they haven't given him enough weapons. I agree.
He's got a great tight end. He's done all of it by himself.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%.
They haven't had a running game with a running back. Offensive line.
Well, the running backs were hurt. Yeah,
that's
the top 3 running backs were hurt. Yeah.
And they never were able to play at that level. The team wasn't able to play at that level because they didn't have a run. Their receivers suck. Hollywood Brown sucks.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He sucks. Who else was he throwing to? DJ's got hurt.
Yeah, they have let him down in terms of receivers.
Absolutely. But they're still around the playoff conversation because of his play.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll sit, and I agree with you 100%. I will sit in the managerial chair again and say this: I don't want a Carson Wentz situation.
I don't know.
I do not want a Carson Wentz situation. I do not want to be stuck with a $30 or $40 million dark cloud cap umbrella over my head if he cannot play, if he's not on the field. What is that?
Show this, y'all. Can you
What
see
is
it?
that?
Oh, we got a Not Out Us shirt.
Yeah, my mom got this for me.
And so it is. Big B, they want to know what? That's cool.
Thanks,
like
Mom.
That's awesome. Mama
Yeah.
Brooks. You
Yes.
gotta wear that bad boy, Barry.
I am. I was gonna wear it today, man, but I got caught up because I was cutting my hair and I had to grab something real fast. So I got,
Yeah,
bro,
bust
I
that
got
out.
out the shower, jumped out, cut my hair and everything. It took me like 10 minutes.
I love it.
Is that on the front of the shirt or the back?
Front.
All right.
Yeah, I was gonna
good.
say, because when I go buy when I buy a lot of T-shirts with like characters or genre, you know, you see a lot of them that you really like, but I won't buy them because it's on the back. I want all my stuff. There are a lot of shirts that I don't know why companies do this. They put it on the back instead of the front.
Yeah. Well, they want
Yeah.
just their logo, like on a, like
Yeah,
under
the
on-
little bitty logo. I don't care about your logo. Put the saying or put the picture, whether it's a wild or whatever, on the front. I don't want to see it on the back. So that stops me from buying a lot of stuff like that. Barry, you held that shirt up, and that's a big shirt, man. It covered the whole screen, bro.
I know.
That's a big shirt.
Hey, he's skinny Barry now.
He's working towards Skinny Bear.
Yeah.
He's
Pimp
getting-
size Barrett. I gotta get
What's
this
your
Barrett.
target? What's your target again?
Be pimp size.
What is pimp size? Now, pimp size to me is different than pimp size to you or Rob. Now, pimp size to Rob is like 130 pounds. Pimp size to me is
I want to
like
get below 300.
210. If I get to 210, I'm pimp size.
I want to be below 300. I've been 300. I've been below 300 since
Did you say? I thought you said close to 300. Oh,
below 300.
okay.
So I got a
Wow.
lot of work to do.
Now, when did you start this process?
About a month ago,
And how many pounds have you lost so far?
a little under 18.
Good for you.
A
Wow.
month and a half ago.
That's a good start.
Yeah,
Wow. Which means you got to buy a whole new wardrobe if you get under 300.
got to.
Woo. You'll be able to. No, I was gonna say you can't.
Yeah,
even
look.
buy
Tone
other
talking about some.
clothes.
Tone talking about some. She's 230 pounds. Yeah, you are a wee little lad. Wee little lad.
Mhm.
When I got to college, I was 230 pounds. 235 pounds when I first got to
That's all
college.
you were when you God.
Yeah, I was a defensive end.
Hold on,
Slash.
man. Tone ain't
Yeah.
no 230.
He is trying to sell it, ain't
Yeah,
he?
he's not
Bro,
that
you
bad.
ain't no.
Tone is more closer
Now
to
that I
Rob
think about
Ellis
you,
than-
ain't no
Yeah.
damn 230.
No, Rob, what do you weigh, Rob? 165?
Yeah,
Damn.
ish.
Yeah,
Give or
your
take.
Tone is Rob's size, dude. He ain't no 230.
Tone, I was
He
born.
said 6'2", 230. He ain't no. Heck,
I was
6'2",
born
230.
Rob's size.
I'm 5'10" and a half, 225. There ain't no way he's 230. Ain't no way on
Ain't
this
no way you
planet.
6 foot either.
I said 5'10" and a half, bro.
Oh, okay. Oh, that was I just read Tone. I'm sorry, I read Tone. He said he's 6
I'm
foot.
like, what? You dyslexic?
Although it's hard, like I can't remember. Well, we've done remotes with Tone, but I'm trying to. I don't remember how tall Tone is.
He's,
Tone
I-
said he's a little
I
taller
believe
than
and
I
he's
am.
not, he ain't a little taller than you. I don't think so.
Whatever he says. I
I don't
Ain't no
think
way
so.
in the world he know 230 pounds.
No, ain't no way in the world he's 6 foot either.
His head might be $190, but that's about
Oh,
it.
jeez. now it's coming out.
Like his shoulders, look, his shoulders, somebody's 5'10", but his head goes up somebody's 6 foot.
Look at the head.
Well, you not saying no 5'10". What? What?
Oh my god.
What you talking about? What you talking about, Willis?
All right, let's and by the way, prayers up for our guy Danny, who's going through some family stuff with that explosion in Reading. So
Oh,
thinking of
yeah,
Danny,
man.
man. Absolutely.
Danny and everybody
Wow.
involved, man.
Yes.
Good dude,
Yes.
good dude. Served our country for a long time, and we appreciate that.
So,
So
and also everybody in Philly,
Yeah.
be careful, man. Don't drink the water, man. It's
Yes.
alert out right
Yeah,
now
what's up
that you
with
can't
that?
drink water. Yeah,
What's up with that, man? What's going on? You
that's
see more
scotch.
and more
That's scotch
tweets.
right there, or
That is
or
gin.
vodka right there. Yeah, gin. And Rob's
no, they
Scotch.
put out this alert saying, don't drink the water because there was a chemical spill. And
What?
then, well, at first they did. And then they said, it's okay to this was yesterday. And then they said, it's okay to drink. Well, for a couple days at least. It's like,
You only be glowing.
ooh,
No,
That's all.
But you're starting to see this in a lot of cities around the country, man. They put these SOSs out. Don't drink the water.
I
And
know.
I'm like, what? Tone said it was a latex chemical spill.
Yeah, and it doesn't
What?
affect the the surrounding counties, but in the Philadelphia area, but it does the Philadelphia PGW and Philly Gas Works and whatnot.
See, that's why you got to come to Delaware. Good old clean water, good old stream, lake water. See,
if you ate White Castles, you wouldn't have to worry about it, because
none of that stuff affects you.
Your system will be ironclad.
You got a coating in this coming for the next millennium.
Oh my God! All right, let's hit it, and let's come back. We'll do some Eagles talk. Look, we're not done with this Lamar Jackson stuff, because this is there's permutations off of this, because here's the thing. Right now, Baltimore sits there at 22 in the draft. If in fact this thing goes down and Lamar's not a Raven next year, what does that mean for them? Do they try and move up and get one of these guys? Could the Eagles, the Eagles could be a pivot spot for them at 10.
Yep,
maybe trade with. There's a lot of things that could go on here with this thing. So
let me just defend us for a second. I'm looking at this comment from Philly D. Said, I like all three guys here, but wish they interact with the chat. Well, Philly D, you must be new to our format, because we are constantly interacting with the chat. We will not acknowledge anything that is derogatory or just plain dumb. And I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general, we don't acknowledge anything like that. We always interact with the chat. As a matter of fact, daily, whether it's Rob or me, we will tell the chat, when we get to certain segments, if you ask a legitimate question, we will try to answer some of them. We cannot answer all of them because of time restraints, but we will try to answer some of them. So Philly D, I'm here to let you know, we see all the comments. A lot of times we don't comment on them because most of them are jaw-jacking with each other, but we do acknowledge pertinent comments. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Well said. Well said. All right, we'll get a quickie in here and we'll continue. We'll do some Eagle stuff. So what do we want to do with the Eagles? We're going to kind of look at the ledger here. Additions, subtractions, guys who stayed, all things equal at the end of the day. Are they better, worse, the same than they were at this point when the season ended? Okay, so we'll kind of dig into that, knowing there's a lot to go here with the draft and still free agency and all that kind of stuff. So we'll do that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, it's 12:30-ish. Feel a little hungry? Yeah, I am too. How about Bravo Pizza in Havertown? I went there Friday, got my usual, and crushed it. In fact, I saved a couple of slices, which I may be dipping into today. It is the absolute best. I've been going there since I was a kid. I mean, literally, they have been family owned since 1985. You got Alex, you got the entire crew, and they're open 7 days a week, and the food is fresh. It's made fresh daily. It's not stuff sitting under that heat lamp and you bite into it and you're like, what is this? No, it is fresh. It is unbelievable. They have 20 different styles of pizza that they make. They have slices, pizzas to go, etc. But the great thing is, and I love the upside down, but the great thing is also you could call up with a request for a certain style of pizza and they will make it. That's right. Specialized pizza your way. But it's not just pizza at Bravo Pizza of Havertown. It is fresh pasta. It is sandwiches. It is wraps. It is wings. It is salads. You name it. And the other great thing is Bravo Pizza is all about the community. They have fundraisers for charities, for schools, little leagues. Proceeds go to those organizations. I've seen it up close and personal because I live not far from there, and I know how they benefit a lot of, whether it's your neighborhood little league or your school or whatever the case may be. You could follow them on Instagram and Facebook at the Bravo Pizza of Havertown. All right, that's where you can find out what the specials are, what some of the promotions. You want to look at a menu, all that good stuff. 1305 Westchester Pike in the Manoa Shopping Center in Havertown. 1305 Westchester Pike, Manoa Shopping Center, Havertown. Give them a call right now, 610-446-3810. 610-446-3810. Bravo Pizza of Havertown.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
We're back. Ba, 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 ba. All right, what's up, everybody?
Stop it.
Come on, man. Come
Stop
on.
it. Stop it.
That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. Hi, everybody. Hanging out with you on this Monday. How about, believe it or not, Saturday we're into April. I know.
Wow.
I know.
Right.
Amazing.
Yeah. That's right around the corner. I mean,
Amazing
right
how
around the
fast it
corner.
goes. So anyway, a couple things to hit here. So looking at the Eagles and looking at the ledger, if you will, and posing the question, are they better, worse, or the same? So let's go through it. Let's start with who they kept. Bradbury's back. Brandon Graham's back. Fletcher Cox is back. I'm going to put Slay in this category, even though he had a year left on his deal because they extended him. And there was the chance that he was going to go bye-bye. Okay. That's the headliners that they kept, right? Am I missing anybody?
No.
All right. So those guys are back. The big names that left: Hargrave, CJ TJ Edwards, Marcus Epps, Isaac Seumalo, Miles Sanders. I'll throw Dillard in there and I'll throw Kaiser White in there.
Yep.
Any other names, big names?
You said TJ Edwards, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
No.
All right. So
but then the receiver from the Colts.
Pascal. Pascal.
Zach
All right.
Pascal, yes.
All right. So you have those two sides of it. Now let's go to people they brought in, the additions that they made. They bring in Terrell Edmonds from the Steelers, Rashad Penny, Nicholas Morrow, the linebacker from the Bears, Greedy Williams, corner safety, Justin Evans, a safety as well. Any other significant additions?
That's the order of which I'd say is an of importance in bringing people in. That's the order I would put it in right there.
All right. So when you take all of that in total on balance, are they better, worse, the same?
I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna go with the same. I think they stay status quo because they brought in some people that can help, and the guy that I would say Dillard. We don't have a replacement for Dillard. We don't have a replacement for CJ GJ.
Yep.
Whatever his name is. I forgot his name already. That's terrible, huh? Those are the two guys I would say we don't have a replacement for. Those two. Because, I mean, we don't have a backup swing tackle. Unless you say Driscoll. Driscoll's our backup swing tackle. But I think he's still in with as far as a guy to come in at the right guard position and compete for the right guard position. I think we'll be pretty strong at that position. We don't have swing tackle. But I'll say at the safety position, we upgraded at one safety with Terrell Edmonds. If you say he takes over F's spot, but I think he's more a CJ GJ guy anyways. So, I mean, to me, it's a toss-up. If you go CJ GJ for Terrell Edmonds, I'm going to say Terrell is the better player.
Really?
Yes, I'm going to say he's the better player.
Because he played the position longer.
He played the position longer, number one. He knows what he's doing. You know what? I'm going to tell you the truth. I think he ends up playing I think CJ GJ ends up playing slot and not safety from this point on.
So you think he goes back to slot?
Yeah, he goes back to slot. He didn't really see. People don't realize how. Yes, he had 6 interceptions. We see the 6 interceptions. We thinking, all right, he's a game changer. But he was just starting to get where his run fits were in the defense, where he really fit in the defense.
Yeah,
he was very opportunistic.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. You know what I'm saying? He had some great plays in which he was there to make a play. Yes, he had 6 interceptions. But a lot of the time, he wasn't there for his run fits, and he ran the ball consistently. It wasn't just the guys up front. It was also where a safety is supposed to put their head in and sneak in. Edmonds is a real bona fide safety that's legitimate in his run fits, legitimate tackler, can cover. He's the total package in a safety. So if you put those two together right now at their career, he's the better safety. Period. In fact, I don't even think it's close.
Upside.
You got a consistent player. He'll be more along the lines of what you're going to get from a Malcolm Jenkins.
Okay.
You'll get him more production that's almost like a Malcolm Jenkins from him.
I guess where I'm at, I think they're a little worse. But we're still pretty early in the process. You lost 11 sacks with Hargrave. And I don't know right now if Jordan Davis and or Milton Williams, if you're asking him to do more, can do more. I don't know. It's really more of an unknown thing. It doesn't mean it can't happen, but I don't know Nakobe Dean and Morrow are going to be. And granted, Kaiser White turned out to be just kind of a guy, if we're being honest.
Who? Kaiser?
Ooh, how soon we forget.
He was okay.
Ooh.
I wasn't
Ooh.
really moved by him, tell you the truth. I like TJ Edwards. And I think he'll be missed.
He's definitely missed. He will definitely be, but we got somebody that potentially could play along the same lines, the same level as him. And Dean. Nakobe Dean is a really good player. And he'll be a really good player in the NFL. He was a great player in college. I still think he'll be a really good player at the NFL level. We just have to realize what he is. He's going to play at a high level, man. He's going to play at a high level, and I not to say that TJ Edwards can be just it's not like he's just we're saying he didn't, he wasn't great. He was good. But I think Dean could be just as good. Put it like that.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. Like, I just think generally you've taken a bit of a step back, but if you draft well and get impact draft players and these dudes can play who are already here, it's different. But as I sit here right now, I'm just on paper. I think you're a little less with losing, especially Hargrave and CJ GJ. And here's the other thing. Can Rashad Penny stay healthy?
And we're just talking about production, though, if we're talking about a production,
Yeah.
from a production standpoint, you don't think that Rashad Penny?
I think he has a higher upside than Sanders does.
Absolutely. I'm just, and I'm not saying this because they're gone now. This has nothing to do. I love the player.
Yeah.
TJ Edwards was my dude. I love the player. Sanders, his potential. We tended to talk a lot about potential until this year.
Yeah.
This year he showed what potential meets hard work and being healthy equates to. He made it happen this year. You know what I'm saying? Contract year, most NFL players do that. But when we talked about Miles Sanders in his 4 years here, we talked more about potential than anything. I think Rashad Penny being healthy is more than just potential. We're going to get proven product. We're going to have a definite commodity with his playing style and the way he is a player.
Because there's too many ifs and buts as we sit here today in late March, I have to put it in the category of I think this team is a little bit worse than it is better. And it starts with the revamped defensive coaching staff to me. We don't know if this size style of defense is conducive to getting the maximum effort out of these players that he's going to be working with. I always said that when Mike Tomlin gets rid of a defensive player, why? Because they take pride. They have for decades take pride in their defense in Pittsburgh. And when they identify you are a player that can help them be as good consistently as they want to be and help others around you, they don't get rid of you. They find a way. Obviously you can't keep everybody because you have so many contracts that come up at the same time. But when it comes to the defense, especially cornerbacks and DBs and linebackers, Pittsburgh doesn't just let you go for any reason, Will the two mesh? The new revamped coaching staff on the defense and the players they will be working with. Rashad Penny, there's no question about it. I think he's a tougher back than Miles Sanders, puts his foot in the ground, turns up, goes, breaks tackles, so on and so forth. But because we don't know if he can stay healthy, if there's a team that could keep him healthy, we have to say the Eagles, considering they had all 22 starters available for the Super Bowl, which is unheard of.
Right.
Even the players that were nicked up, they found a way to get them back in their lineup when it counted most. But because of Rashad Penny's history, I have to put him in that if category also. So because of that, we still need a safety also. And that's not to say Howie may not make another move before it's all said and done, because there's some interesting safeties out there.
Yeah, we're going to go through some of the best free agents.
But as we sit there right now, I said they're a little bit better or worse because it's such a big mystery in terms of how will it mesh moving forward.
This is the first time I may say I have to disagree with you on that one, because that's all we're looking at right now is potential.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But when I look at the roster, just like what you say with Edmonds, I think the reason why they let him go, just from when me talking with my sources, when I talk to him, it's not like they didn't want to sign him back. They didn't sign him back because they're paying Minkah Fitzpatrick top money. I mean, top money. He's one of the highest paid safeties in the NFL right now. They just worked his deal out last year. I think he was just a casualty of the cap. Is the only reason why he's not there. That in which they have a guy that that played a lot too. DeMonte Kazee, remember him? Kazee he used to play corner, but they moved him to safety, and he played pretty well. And they also signed Patrick Peterson to their roster, so they had no more money in the secondary to give. That's the only reason why they didn't sign him back. They were going to sign him back, they just didn't have enough, to sign him back. As for the linebacker position, TJ Edwards, he left because he wanted to go home.
Absolutely.
Epps, I think Epps just wanted to sprout his wings. You know what I'm saying? He was tired of playing under the notion that, all right, he's a good player, but he can go somewhere and really, spread his wings and play now and be, rewarded for, what they deem as though he wasn't worth at the time. You know what I'm saying? So Reed Blankenship, he better be able to play. They put a lot of stake with him.
But that's an if. Yeah. If. You know what I mean?
Right.
Marcus Epps saw the bright lights of Vegas. He's a young kid, saw the bright lights of Vegas, wanted to go to Vegas. I get that, but I'm just saying they still need a safety. We don't know for sure if Edmonds can come in here. Will Edmonds come in here and be CJ and wow us all, or will he be Kazir White, who we all raved about early in the season? And as Rob just said just a few moments ago, he turned out to be just a player. So we don't know in this system.
You're right.
We don't know.
I hope he didn't turn out like a Harris, because Harris came in here and played very average. I was like, damn, why did they let him go from Minnesota? I see why they let him and the boy. Remember the linebacker from Minnesota? He had me fooled, man. Eric Wilson. He got to talk about some,
he couldn't play a little bit.
I mean, hey, I changed my diet. I became a vegan. I'm all eating all plant based, and I'm taking ninjutsu and samurai swords playing.
Mediterranean diet.
I'm like, what? I said, bruh, the way you playing, you better go back to eating beef. I mean, whatever you need to, change in your diet, bring it back, because you played horribly.
And let's face it, a lot of players are system players. They excel in one system and flounder in another system. And that's why I said, I don't know. We don't know what Sean Desai's system is and how he's going to integrate.
That's the biggest thing right there.
Yeah.
You're right. That's the biggest thing right there.
Know.
Man. I mean, hey, all I'm going to say is this. Please, Robert, don't get him out of here. Robert will get you out of here.
Who am I not getting out of here?
Desai.
Oh, Desai. No, I have an open mind. Look, I try to keep Gannon here. I'm not. Nobody else wanted him. No, but let me ask you guys this: as we see, I know we got a long way to go here. I don't think that Blankenship's going to be one of the starting safeties. I think he's going to be a depth special teamer. I think there's going to be another safety addition, some way, shape, or form. I feel like it's going to be Edmonds and somebody else starting.
But everybody's screaming. Reed Blankenship this, Reed Blankenship that. I mean, he played all right. You know what I'm saying? But it was a lot of things they couldn't run because he was there. Mm-hmm. And people don't understand that. They had to, they had to dumb down a lot of stuff, because he's a rookie. You know what I'm saying? He didn't really understand what he was doing out there. That's a lot of the times what happened, even in the Dallas game, when you have young guys out there, you can't really put them in the positions where you're asking to play in a system in which, you got to know this to combat that. You know what I'm saying? That's what happened with the 3rd and 30. You had a, young guy playing safety out there, supposed to be a cornerback, and he didn't play the deep third, and then you have a veteran corner, sitting down. You're not supposed to be sitting down. You're supposed to be, hauling ass, following the guy. Those things happen. But I mean, I think everybody's stuck on Reed being a starter.
Maybe he'll emerge by the time training camp is all said and done.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but Derek, where do you fall on this? So you think they're the same, they're worse, they're better?
You said better.
No, you.
Who, me?
You, Derek, yeah.
Oh, I said I think they're a little worse now because of all the ifs and buts that we've just gone over. Mm-hmm. There's so many gray areas in terms of what are we getting in his revamped coaching staff? How will these pieces be integrated into, and I'm hoping Sean Desai has a scheme and not a philosophy like his predecessor had. Okay. We don't know. We have no idea. It could be better than what Gannon had. It could be worse. Mm-hmm. We've seen that happen. New guy comes in, what you had is worse than what you put on the field the previous season. I can't sit here and say they're better. Their linebacking situation is a big question mark. Nakobe Dean, I agree. Potential. Jordan Davis, I agree. Potential. But you've got to step up and replace Javon Hargrave, who gave you exceptional play. You've got to step up as a linebacker and replace what T.J. Edwards contributed in terms of being the brains of that machine working on defense. Okay. The potential is great. Now you got to do it. Yeah. And let's face it, we see a lot of players that make that transition from the college ranks, being all pro, all Americans and stuff in college, and don't equal that in the pros. Mm. It's based on who you're playing under. Mm-hmm. And you know what? I don't know enough about Desai to say that he's the guy. I don't know. I
Yeah.
hope I know about a mid-season. But
Well, let me ask you, Rob, this. Can I ask you guys this question?
Yeah.
With who they have out there on the field right now, the players, not the system, the players, do you think they could field a competitive defense?
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely competitive defense. I think they can field a good, solid defense. I think they're definitely going to be carried by their offense more than their defense, but I think they can be. I mean, you still have a good pass rush, even though you lost Hargrave. You still have a good pass rush. I think your corners are still really good. I mean, there's no denying that. I think you're, and that includes your slot corner and Devontae Maddox, depending on what happens there, where he plays. But I think, they've made themselves better at safety than they were a week ago with the Edmonds addition. Yeah, I think it's a solid defense. It went from being at times a dominating defense last year. I don't know that you're going to be able to get back to that level, but I think pretty good.
If they don't add another free agent, I think with the personnel that we're looking at on this roster right now will be at least a top 15 defense overall and top 10 in QB sacks overall. Now.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at like Tyler with a Bolich, Bolich.
Yeah.
Stream. He said, "Hey Rob, what about drafting Brian Branch from Alabama? If you want a CJGJ, you're going in the right direction with him."
I like Brian Branch.
Yeah. Me too.
A lot.
But is he around there? He's a second round guy.
I mean, is he here? Here's where he could be a candidate. I think if you trade down out of that 30 spot and grab him wherever you end up, maybe.
Yep, absolutely.
And if you have a dominant offense, you don't need. History has shown you don't need a dominant defense to get to the big show. If you go back and look over the last 10, 15 years of teams that have gotten to the Super Bowl, they all didn't have dominant defenses, but they had electric offenses.
Right.
That narrative has changed that, offenses get you in the headlines of defenses win you championships. Defense, if you play consistently okay, but you have a top flight offense, you can get to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen that happen time and time again. So with this, that's why I said with this personnel we have on paper right now for the Eagles, if they can just hold it down, and get strategic key stops, whether it's third and short, interception, pass batted down, and let the offense take the field and do their thing, they will win more games than they will lose. But the level of competition they have to navigate through in 2023 is stiffer than what they had to go through in 2022.
Yeah, they're the other things, regardless of roster, is the schedule is going to be harder.
Yep.
Generally, I think not that they didn't sneak up on anybody necessarily, but you're really going to be hunting it this year. You're the champion of your conference, so you're going to be the bullseye team every single week. So, and the division's pretty good. You don't have any layups in the division. Washington, New York, Dallas, you don't get any breaks. You're not playing in one of these other garbage divisions where you have a couple automatic wins. Nothing's automatic with this.
There it is right there. Nothing's automatic. And with the NFC being what it is, and you have the best quarterback, things just look good for you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Things definitely look good for you. You're in a position where it's a good thing you're on the NFC side because it's a much, much easier road trying to tread through those waters than to tread through the AFC. Put it like that.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. And look, with these owners meetings, that's typically when there's some conversations had, whether that's draft night trades, like AJ Brown last year, or whether that's, moving up, down from the draft, potentially a trade. There's a lot of different things that could happen, but this is the sort of germ where a lot of this comes from, is this week where they are in Arizona right now having the meeting. So be interesting to see what ends up happening here. Even if it's something we don't know about right now, draft's not that far away.
Nope.
Like I said, we're almost in April. So you're talking about a month away ish,
right?
Give or take. So we're pretty close, that's for sure. And look, I think the other thing, one of the advantages you have with this Eagles team is from a continuity and a talent standpoint, offensively, you're going to be nasty. You're bringing back, Brian Johnson sticks around. So you're elevating him, but a guy who's already been in the system. And you have Jalen Hurts, and you have, if Rashad Penny stays healthy, a running back who's going to get you 5 yards per carry with great receivers and a great tight end. And your offensive line, for the most part, came back intact. No hero good things. These are all really good things. And in that league, you better be able to score, period. Like yes, defense is great, but you better be able to score.
Oh, there's no question about it. This offense can accidentally score 28 points a game. They accidentally score 28 to 30 points a game. That will get them more W's than L's. Will they win 14 games again this year? I don't know with this schedule, but they should still be right there in that division. As close as that division, the other three teams are slowly creeping up on them.
Yeah.
As close as that division will be, they still have the overall better talent that should walk away with the division title and break that drought of no NFC East team winning back-to-back division titles over the last decade plus.
Yep.
So I feel confident about where they are right now structurally, but there have been so many changes to it, especially on defense. It's going to be interesting to see how quickly it can come together, how well the defense can complement that offense.
Yep.
Well, I'm just gonna give you my top five. You guys can give later after we come back from break. But my top five needs for the Eagles right now.
Right.
Number one, inside linebacker.
Yep.
Number two, safety.
Yep.
Number three, swing tackle. No, number three, third wide receiver.
That's a great list. Hard to argue.
Hold on.
Sorry.
One more. And then swing tackles number 4. And number 5, we need a damn punter.
Yes. We haven't talked about that at all. Yes.
Right.
And I don't know, like, I almost rather they go like the veteran punter route than some free agent signee rookie or something like that. I'm nervous about that.
You want to sign a guy like this with money.
Yeah, I don't want to go through this again. Like if I could square up my punt game, I already know my kicker's good. That like they got away with a lot of stuff during the regular season. They did. They got away with a bad punter and for the most part a bad return game.
Absolutely.
Most of the year.
Yep.
And it bit him in the biggest game. Crappy punt, awful coverage on it. And the returns were okay. Actually, what's his name? Cubby had an okay return in the Super Bowl. But anyway, you can upgrade all those positions. Okay. You can do way better at punt returner, way better at punter, and your coverage units have to be way better.
Well, not to burst your hopeful bubble, but I'm looking at the list of free agent punters right now. You have Andy Lee of the Cardinal, who's 41. Do you want him?
No.
You have Thomas Morstead of the Dolphins, who's 37. Brett Kern was 37. Okay.
I know to that.
Okay. You have the Patriots, Michael Pallardy. He's 31. And then you have Matt Hawk of the Colts, who's 29. Those are the veteran punters who are free agents right now. None of them on this list really make me jump for joy. So where are you going to get them? A guy who's been sitting home for a couple of years waiting for his next shot in the NFL, college ranks. Where are you going to get them from?
I don't know. Yeah.
I'm sorry to burst you guys' bubble, but I've seen everybody just forgot about the woes we had with that.
Yeah, no, it's real. It's very
just
real.
Just keep sucking.
No. No, we're not doing that. Sippos. Yeah.
Sippos.
Suck up, Sippos, whatever the heck his name is.
Probably be better off nickname Suck Up.
Well, suck up. Because he had to suck up to somebody to keep that job.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
I don't know
dude.
what I want. I don't know if I want one of those freaking washed up guys, or I don't know what I want at this point. I want somebody else.
Draft a young leg. If you don't get any more draft picks, can you afford to use one of your 6 picks to draft a punter?
No. But here's what's going to be interesting. And I'm not saying this for the Eagles, but it's going to be interesting. The murder leg guy. The Arizona, remember his San Diego State guy? Remember him?
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's out there.
I don't know what went down, but I know he wasn't proven guilty. I'm just telling you, someone's going to sign that dude because he can punt. So I don't know.
That sounds like a Howie Roseman punt. Yeah, that sounds like a Howie Roseman signing.
So
yeah, our locker room could take that.
Yeah, and so just keep that guy in mind, Azaria. Keep that in mind. We'll see what happens there. All right, let's come back. We'll continue with the Eagles talk, and we'll dip into some Phillies too, as they are really close, guys. Only a few more exhibition games. They've made some decisions on the roster. Aaron Nola negotiation talks have broken off, so there's definitely some Philly stuff going on. We've got a huge Sixers game tonight. Sixers Nuggets, Embiid against the Joker, and some Embiid comments too that maybe he's running out of gas a little bit is concerning. So we'll do all that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Derek Barrett, Rob, Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on this beautiful Monday. Let's talk about Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, because guess what? Knowing who to trust with your finances is huge. You work way too hard not to set yourself and your family up, down the line. And they can be in real time as well. But I can tell you from personal experience that Jim Murray and Principal Financial Group, they are people that I trust. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, you might have a small business, you're trying to get your employee benefits set up. It's another resource that Jim can help you with. I know personally, I've entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollovers with Jim, and it was seamless. It really was. I couldn't be any happier. Give him a call, 610-996-4751, 610-996-4751. Or you can try him via email, Murray, MURRAY .jim@principal.com. That's Murray.jim@principal.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
As long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross. Is the best vacation one that you find, or one you get lost in? One that takes you to new heights, or reminds you to go with the flow? To get your feet wet and your wheels spinning? One that lets you find your own rhythm, or get carried away? Find the best of yourself. Get lost in the woods. Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Plan your day with confidence.
Keep the umbrellas on hand.
With Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. Action News and AccuWeather, the team you trust.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
As a hardworking American, you've never experienced how tough life can be until now. A catastrophic injury while working on the job. A personal injury from someone else's negligence. Turned away by other law firms in the region who didn't bother to learn your story. It's time to meet the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm and managing partner Brian Fritz. Badly injured? Call the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm. Find out why they say, "We got this."
What's up, everybody? Thanks for hanging out with us on this Monday. That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We're Sports Take. Tell a friend. Let's hit the like button. Boom. Smash it. Let's do that today as well. We're just discussing the Eagles and kind of just looking at both sides of the ledger when you take everything into account, additions, subtractions, guys who stayed, kind of where they are right now, and if they are better or worse than they were last year. All right, let's sneak in a little Phillies here, guys, because it gets real on Thursday. That is their season opener. The news over the weekend was Aaron Nola and the Phillies had been discussing a long-term extension. And those talks broke off, and Dave Dombrowski was very, upfront about it. Said, look, we love Aaron, but you get to a point in negotiations where you feel like you're kind of spinning your wheels, and both parties decided, let's pull back. Aaron wants to concentrate on the season. We don't feel like we're making any headway here, so we're going to step away from this thing. So he turns 30 in June, guys. Last year, 3.25 ERA, 0.96 WHIP. That's walks, hits, innings pitched. 235 strikeouts to just 29 walks. That's an insane ratio.
Insane. Crazy.
Oof. 32 starts. Guys, he hasn't missed a start since 2017. So you're talking about a guy who, whatever else is going on, he's taking the ball every fifth day, and he's going to show up for you, and he's going to eat a lot of innings for you. Is he perfect? No. Is he Zach Wheeler? No. But he's still a damn good pitcher. This is a little troubling. I was thinking they were probably going to be able to get this thing done, but obviously not. He might walk at the end of the year.
Well, I mean, they have a lot of people walk at the end of this year. You need to get that consistently and knowing he's going to be there. And I put him up against, everybody else's number 2 all day long, man. It meant something us going in with the confidently going into, this playoff system with at least 2 guys we know can give you, give it to the best of them in the business. You know what I'm saying? As far as starting pitching. Mm-hmm. So yes, I wanted to get done, but I mean, who does these days? More than likely, I don't know how this arbitration thing is going to go on or anything like that, man. It's hard baseball. Baseball.
Yeah, he's beyond that. This for him is just he's a free agent. Like either they sign him or somebody else does.
See, that's some bad baseball there, man. Bad baseball, bro.
Well, look,
what is he asking? I mean, we don't know, right?
My guess, Derek, you're looking at high 20s.
Okay.
30.
We know Dombrowski is not shy about spending money.
No.
Okay. You look at what he's done last season and this offseason.
Billy spent.
So
there's no doubt.
We know that money is not the problem. I would say his productivity is as consistent as he's been. What has been the one constant negative about him? Doesn't show up in September.
Runs out of gas. Yep.
Runs out of gas by September, and he pitched well in September, but in this case, ran out of gas when he got to the playoffs, the latter
World
part
Series.
Of the playoffs.
He was pretty good early in the playoffs. You're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I think that has to factor into the equation as well in terms of if he's asking for astronomical numbers, and you throw back at him, well, you know what? You've been steady, Eddie, consistent. You don't get injured, but yet when we need you the most, you fade off into oblivion. We have to take that into consideration.
Gun, I would hate having to negotiate.
Yeah, you'd be tough.
I've been and cussed you out so many times, man. You would. So many of this and so many of that.
But from a business perspective, and anything when we talked about, I'm like you, and you guys know this. You knew this before we started this show. When we worked together at NBC Sports, you can say that you heard me say I'm always for the player, and I'm always anti-management, right? Mm-hmm. Even when I was sitting at my desk and we would talk about getting paid and for what we do, I always say I'm always for the employee getting all they can, more so than the management, right? But now that I sit in this chair, I have to look at it from both perspectives. And if I'm sitting across from you as a recipient of what I'm going to pay you, my job is to not let the numbers get out of line, yet pay you the market value. And there's no question there is a market value for Aaron Nola. But you do have this one flaw that keeps popping up. And I have to take that into consideration. You want all you can get as a businessman controlling the money. I need to control the numbers as much as I can. Some numbers you can't control. Bryce Harper, Trey Turner, you just got to pay to play.
But you got to look at this from this standpoint also.
I don't. I'm management. You're the player.
Well, and this is what the agent is going to say. The agent's going to say, well, you tell me, all right, you saying I fade away. All right, then you go out there and get me a fifth starter then. Because I didn't have a fifth starter.
You say that.
Well, the other thing he's going to say is, if I don't do what I do during the regular season, we're not talking about a postseason.
That's right. There you go.
I mean, and by the way, he locked down the game that got you in the playoffs in Houston, where he almost pitched a no-hitter. Okay, in the regular
beat St. Louis
last series, and in St. Louis he was dealing. The Atlanta series he was dealing. He started to leak oil in the Padre series, in the NLCS, and then into the World Series. But up until then, he was really, look, Barrett said it well. He's a damn good number 2. Zach Wheeler's your number 1. There's no doubt about that. but he's a damn good number 2.
I mean, wouldn't you put him? I put him up against anybody's number 2 in the MLB.
Yep.
But it's just, I understand that. That's crazy, man. How do you do that? How do you negotiate that from an agent standpoint?
You know what I think you do with this one? You just let's let both sides kind of breathe for a minute. Let's circle back here, in a month or 2. And
yeah, but you know what? Based on what Dombrowski's saying, they're not going to talk about this till the end of the year.
I think they
can't wait that long.
I think that is for right now. We're going to put this out there, and I think behind the scenes we're going to do a little work in a couple months. I do.
So we'll be sitting back one day in June in the summer and like, hey, it's going to come out.
All of a sudden,
signs a 5-year deal with such and such.
I agree.
I hope so. I mean, I love it. I love watching the pitch.
I do too.
Don't get me wrong.
I do too. All right, let me give you this. So Phillies are playing today. They only have 2 more, I think, after this. One more after this. Exhibition game. So Trey Turner had another hit today, right? He's 10 for 19 in the spring, which is a .526 batting average. And if you combine that, as Marcus Hayes put this out there, if you combine that with what he did in the World Baseball Classic, he's hitting .452 with 6 home runs.
Jeez.
Like, this dude is scorching hot right now.
I hope he saves some of that for the regular season.
I know. And my first reaction is like, dude, just spread it out a little bit.
Right. You know what, Rob? It reminds me of this. When we look at preseason in football, we see teams go 4-0 in the preseason.
Yeah.
They finish at the bottom.
Yeah.
And then we see teams
then the
go
0-4 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get to the conference championship. And baseball is the same way. How many players do you see in baseball smoking in training camp come out over 89, up a 0.92 batting average?
I'm crazy like that too, because I remember I was playing basketball when I was in high school, and I go out there, I'm warming up, boom, I'm just hitting every shot, boom, draining threes, boom, and all of a sudden I would stop shooting. Man, let me stop using up all my good shots. Now we wait to the game, and then I have a great game because I didn't use all my shots.
Yeah. It's like us when we have these pre-show meetings and it starts getting heated about something. I'm like, save it. Save it.
I wish people could see our pre-show meeting. We get fired up sometimes in debating topics.
Exactly.
Of course, Barrett spends part of the time taking shots at me, but that's okay though.
Wow. You got to bring you down. He's trying to get you level headed.
Never that.
Oh, really? Like today, what's the common denominator when I mention certain people's names and you say it's me? And I said, well, wait a minute. What about the good I've done for these people? And you just totally bypassed that.
No, I didn't bypass it. I said, you've done good.
But there's always a but. Go ahead.
You've done good.
But
no, it's not a but. I mean, you've done good. I mean, you helped so many people out. You know what I'm saying? But I think
he said but. You heard it, Rob. You heard it.
You do that because you help people out because you just gnaw them down and you just break them down so far that you have to bring them back up. You have to help them back up, man. You just mentally drain people and beat them down, and all of a sudden you turn around, you got to help them back up. You see the error of your ways, you're like, you know what, let me help this young man or young lady, because I just
I can't believe it.
I've just totally, just beat them up. It's about time I bring them back up. Let me show them the good D gun. I know they're tired of the bad D gun.
Can you question my honesty behind it though? It's not demeaning. Am I not being honest? Prime example. Did I not help you come a long way?
Absolutely.
What'd you do? Did I not? And was I not brutally honest? Absolutely. When you ask me questions, was I not brutally honest?
Yes, you did.
Did I sit there and go, you know what, Barrett? That's okay, buddy. Just keep doing what you're doing. I was brutally honest with you, right?
Sometimes you just want a little, puppy, pet on the head sometimes. Like, D. Brooks, you're okay. You're okay. No, you're a good guy, D. Brooks.
You know what? My methods are tried and proven. I want you to reach down deep in your bowels and bring out the best.
We have to go to bowels? Can we just reach down? How about in your gut?
Right.
What about loin? Reach deep down in your loin and bring out the best.
Enjoy your lunch, everybody.
I've seen people walk into the studio with us, or walk into our where we go and turn right back. Oh, he doesn't turn right back around. Right back around. Tell me our old boss would walk in to see you there in the newsroom and just walk straight back out. Let me turn back around. She just couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, you were intimidating.
I was just brutally honest.
Yeah. You were intimidating.
I was honest. Was I not honest?
You were.
Oh,
honest.
And yet,
kept it real.
And yet, based on what Barrett said, people will still come back for more, wouldn't it?
That's true.
That's
true. You're like Yoda, man. You're like that guy. All right.
Yeah, he's like
Yoda.
Look,
come on, man.
He's like Yoda. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
That's cool.
Like,
I don't know whether to thank you guys. I don't know whether to thank you guys or send my hitman over there and do some damage to your property. I don't know.
My freshman year in high school, okay, so I went to an all boys Catholic high school, and my homeroom teacher, Father Havener was his name, looked identical to Yoda. Okay,
come on, man.
No, I'm serious. He looked
ears and everything.
Ears, bald head. If he was green, if his skin tone was just green, he would look like Yoda. Okay, and he was this little short dude, and he had like bad teeth like Yoda.
Golly,
swear to God.
Oh my goodness.
So but unlike most priests who didn't have a great sense of humor, he had a great sense of humor. He loved to be called Yoda. We could call him Yoda. We didn't have to call him Father Haven. I'm telling you, it was awesome. I'll tell you another one. Speaking of that, this has nothing to do with anything. The very first detention I ever got in high school, right, was for saying "God bless you." Somebody sneezed, and I said "God bless you." So we had this priest. He just passed away, Father Ference. He taught chemistry, or I forget what it was, whatever. MPS, modern physical science. Anyway, one of his rules was if anybody sneezes in class, you can't say no. It was actually Havener. It was this guy Yoda. One of his rules was if somebody sneezes in class, don't say God bless you. I don't need 15 of you saying God bless you after someone sneezes, like a wise guy. All right, I guess. I don't know. Like 2 days later, somebody sneezes and I said, God bless you. That's how I got my first detention. We called it jug.
Wait a minute. You got a detention? You got a detention?
I got detention. Jug. I got jug for saying God bless you in a Catholic school. That's all you need to know. All right. Anyway, I don't know where any of that came from, but let's move on.
Wow.
Yes. Thank you. You're welcome for these kind of stories.
Did you go to Catholic school? Were you in prison?
Some would say it was close. It was very similar.
I went to Catholic school for 6 years.
I did 12, man.
Let's see, 34, 6, 7, 8, 6 years. Yeah.
I wasn't allowed.
Yeah.
No, they wouldn't let you any.
Yeah, Barrett, that might have
kind
been
of
a short
religious
stay.
school.
That might have been a short stay.
It didn't make a difference what religion it was. You ain't getting in there. I'm telling you that right now.
Father O'Neill says some of us have a sense of humor. You are correct, Father. Some of you. Yes, you are. I shouldn't lump everybody into the same category.
Okay, for future reference, so Sean O'Neill is a priest.
He is. He is.
Yeah. So Barrett, I want you to keep that in mind when you go off the deep end. I want you to keep in mind we have a priest.
Where did this come from?
I'm just saying. I know you.
I didn't say
he's
anything.
been good lately. I don't think he's even cursed in a long
in days.
time.
Right, exactly.
In days. Let's say days, Rob. Don't say weeks.
I'm going to say weeks.
Don't you say weeks.
I have held myself to. I've held my composure because
you have.
I was about to say something and I said, "You know what? I'm not going to say it."
Yes.
You're right. You have. I am proud of you. You have been able to control that sharp tongue. I am so proud of you,
bro. Because I started to say Yoda. Yoda. Okay, yeah. You've been Yoda. You know what I'm saying? A puppet with your hands stuck.
Thank you, Tone.
This is how different it was back then. All right. So he was a smoker. So they had in his priest uniform, he had the collar and the whole thing, but they had a little pocket on the shirt. He'd always pull out a smoke and he'd smell it. Can't wait until we're out of homeroom and he would go smoke a cigarette. Like you could never do that now. At one point, he asked anybody got a light? Like we're freshmen. Right? Meanwhile, like half the class had lights for him.
Hey man, Tone just dying Barrett out. That's right. I'm glad Tone said Barrett swore last week, bro. When you weren't here.
I don't remember that kind of stuff.
I think you were off 2 days. Barrett did swear last week.
It's when I was there. When I wasn't there, he lost his. He went a little crazy. He cursed. Yes.
So you are the calming force in Barrett's world. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Chris D. Holy Rosary, Catholic Catholic today. My mother's ashamed of my choices. Okay. We need to dig into that a little deeper, I think. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
All right. So a couple other Phillies things here, guys. So making the team will be Dalton Guthrie and Jake Cave. They're both outfielders. Cave can play first as well. You can move these guys all around. How about the spring for Cave? He hit 440, 22 of 50, 3 home runs, 3 triples, and 14 runs driven in. I mean, he essentially forced the Phillies' hand. He had to make the team. He was that good.
You got to bring him up. Yep.
Guthrie is a really good fielder. He came up, played with him a little bit last year. So that's what we're looking at. So Kingery, who had a great spring too, and Cody Clemens, who's Roger Clemens' son. Neither of them are going to make the team coming out of spring training. Derek Hall is going to get the bulk of the at-bats at first. I think what they're going to do, guys, is it's yours until proven otherwise. Like if you show us you can't hit lefties, all right, then we're going to figure something out. But the hope is that you can plug him in and he becomes that guy. And look, the good thing is you can move some pieces around. Schwarber can play first. Castellanos has been working at first base a little bit.
Yeah.
You can always throw Bohm over there if you have to. So you have a couple of options there.
Yeah, you're keeping a cave up. It gives you the opportunity also to kind of deal him in a little bit and bring down Castellanos.
Exactly right.
So,
yeah. And the good thing is both Cave and Guthrie are really good fielders. So if you're DHing either Schwarber or Castellanos, you're upgrading your outfield defense in a big way from either one of those two.
As well as Cave has played in spring training, I think he's a temporary fix in terms of a roster spot until Bryce Harper is ready.
Yep.
And which he'll get valuable at bats and experience at even though it might be sporadic, you'll get some valuable time in the majors, but he'll go back down to like AAA and play every day once Bryce Harper is ready. And there's nothing wrong with that, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I hate about baseball, man. They yo-yo players up and down like it's nothing. And you get a taste of the majors. In the NFL, you either play or you get cut. And hopefully you catch on somewhere else. In the NBA, you either play or you get cut. Well, I take that back because they send players down to the G League now. The G League's like a minuscule minor leagues of baseball, but
the closest thing the NFL has to that is practice squad, but
or the XFL.
That's actually becoming a real farm league for the NFL now.
Which is good.
It is.
Yeah,
yes, it is.
It's becoming a real farm league. That's a lot of games played in a year, though. When you just got to play in that league and turn around.
Yeah, it's a beating, man.
That's when you want to fulfill that dream, you do it, especially when you're young.
I know that's
put your body through it, man. It was NFL Europe before the XFL came back.
They're taking the XFL very seriously. You got like rock money behind it. Like you got some bread behind it. So they're
right. And the games are pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The talent out there. Like I saw a former first round pick went to Clemson, the defensive end, got drafted by Atlanta in the first round.
He's there now. Yeah.
I forget his name, man, but
I know you're talking about.
Little Stream will say something.
Yeah.
Hey, easy tone. You can't. We all a friend of company, and you told putting out there. I cursed last week. We all a friend of company.
Thank you, Tone. Tone like me, he keeps it real. Barrett's like Mary Poppins.
See, I have Barrett's back, man. You guys just.
Oh yeah. You always have Barrett's back. I don't care. I'm on my own.
I don't play favorites. I got both your backs.
Yes, you do. No, you don't. Now it's too late. You just said I already have Barrett's back. You already said it.
Both of your backs.
Sorry.
Hey,
I don't need either one of you.
Good news is, Sharif Miller had two. Former Eagle, former Penn Stater had 2 sacks over the weekend.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you, Dank. So Harper appears to be way ahead of schedule. We could see him by the end of May.
That is crazy.
Yeah, man.
He's a machine, man.
Yeah.
He's a machine.
So that's great news. So if that's the case, that really changes things because you're gonna have to start the year off without Harper, without Hoskins, without Ranger Suarez, and without Painter. So you're down some bodies early here.
But they still look good, man. They still look on paper.
Yeah.
They still look good, man.
Yep.
And also, you know what? Volkswagen has come out with the new Volkswagen, the bus, man. The Volkswagen bus. It's electric, but looks just like those old, like the 16 window buses.
Where did that come from?
We're just saying stuff, man. I'm just saying,
We should have just a random saying segment.
Yeah.
Where it's just totally out of nowhere. Like Garrett just did. And like I did with Catholic school. Like we should just have things where it's just out of nowhere.
I saw it yesterday, man. I said, you know what? I wrote it down.
Is it like an old school, like the bus, like the old school?
Yes. That's why I brought it up, man.
Are you getting a free deal from Volkswagen or something?
No, I was just watching I was watching this. I was on YouTube watching this Porsche. This dude comes by and he redoes Porsches. It's called RWD, and this guy's he's from Japan. He comes over and he does like you pay him all this money. He come over and he'll just redo your Porsche into like a race car type of Porsche.
Nice.
And it was pretty good. So as I'm watching that, this commercial comes up on YouTube, and it's the new bus. I'm like,
Okay.
that's old school. Look just like an old school bus.
That became like the hippie kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
Volkswagen bus.
Rob,
Yeah.
exactly. So I was like,
See smoke billowing out the windows.
Yes.
You know what they're doing.
Spicoli spilling
Right.
out.
Yeah.
Sometimes a Richmond High.
Yeah,
With
you
a
know
bagel
what
in
they're
it.
doing.
Cheech and Chong-esque.
Yes. All right, let's come back. I like that. The wheels are turning for a random segment.
Right.
Maybe we do that.
Random. Oh, you don't want to turn me loose in a random segment. You don't want to do that.
Maybe not.
Right.
Maybe I don't want to do that.
right.
You don't want to do that.
All right, let's come back. I know what I want to do. I want to talk to Rich Hoffman when we come back. We're going to do that. Rich from The Athletic. Big one tonight, fellas. Okay? Sixers, Nugs tonight. The Joker.
Boys got when he said that. Big one tonight, boys.
Like that. When
See
my
how deep
announcer
this was? Like Ted Baxter.
all right, let's step aside. Let's come back. Let's talk to Rich, all things Sixers when we come back. He's Derek. He's Barrett. I'm Rob. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Right now, I'm telling you about Pro Action Restoration. Yes, Pro Action Restoration is the place that you call if your business, your home, a property you own goes through water, fire, smoke, mold damage, you name it. They can handle it. And the beauty is Pro Action Restoration is on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. So it doesn't matter if it's a Saturday, if it's nighttime, it's a holiday, you reach out, they will be there. I reached out to them on a Saturday and they were right out, cleaned the problem up, fixed it. Price was right. Crew was great. All the above. They are licensed, bonded, fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company. So again, if it's water, fire, smoke, mold, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wild wood days.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
We're back. Yes, we are. Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network on this Monday. Thanks for hanging. We do appreciate it. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, joined by our next guest. Does an excellent job covering the Sixers for The Athletic. You can follow him on Twitter as well, at Rich_Hoffman, and of course, theathletic.com/Philly. What's up, Rich? How are you, man?
What's going on, man?
Not much, guys. Just watching some hoops in March, and playoffs coming around soon for the sport I cover. So
yeah, it's been awesome.
Nothing like it.
Now, let me ask you, Rich, on the college tip before we get into the Sixers. Some people don't like the sort of parody and the craziness and FAU and all the crazy upsets and all that. No number ones. I think it's been a highly enjoyable tournament, but some people just love the blue bloods. Where do you fall on that?
Rob, I've just enjoyed watching it. I guess I didn't really even think about, who was playing or whatever, but I thought the Kansas State, Michigan State game, I guess that was the Sweet 16. That was one of the best college games I've seen. It was just super high level. So really, I think with all the transfers and stuff, the parity is the level of play kind of across the board. You can get these seniors come into your program and just be, as good as Duke, as good as Villanova really quickly. So no, I'm with you. I've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed watching FAU play, So.
Yeah.
Who are you rooting for in the Final Four?
I'm a pretty big East guy, so okay. I don't UConn was a team I always hated when I was a kid, but I like it that they're now relevant again and good. But I don't know. I think FAU would be fun if they could actually do it. Oh, you know what? Actually, I should change that because I didn't think about that. I like Miami because they have the two Philly kids, Isaiah Wong and Doppler. I think Jim Larinaga is an awesome coach. He just seems like he runs great stuff, and he's also just seems like he's a blast to play for. He doesn't yell at you, all that stuff. So yeah, I actually, if I had to pick, I would take Miami.
That's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Isaiah Wong, Bonner Pride, baby. All right. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk some Sixers here, Rich. Before we get into Embiid and Joker, is Joel already sort of paving the way here for the inevitable collapse, not getting out, giving the "I'm tired" speech? It was weird to me. If you're so beaten down, to me, sit out Saturday, take the L with Harden sitting too, and that's fine. Let's move on to tonight. Is this just Joel being Joel? What's happening here?
Schedule loss.
Yeah.
He's a very emotional quote, Rob. I would say, and I'm not there, but there are times when if you kind of lead him into that question, if you say are you tired or whatever, he's just got the answer ready. And he's going to have that going. I agree with you. I'm not on this trip, but it seemed like a very obvious night to sit him. And I know he was great the night before in Golden State, and that's a frustrating loss. And maybe you want to get that game back. But as far as a travel back-to-back going from San Francisco to Phoenix, that's one I know, I don't want to completely let the Sixers off the hook because Phoenix played in Sacramento the night before. So, I get it. They're playing at home, but they have the same travel and the same kind of, tired legs. That said, it's pretty obvies. Also, the MVP Bowl is tonight, right? When you want to actually be up for that game too. So I think that was a case where not only did it make sense for the MVP, it made sense for the Sixers to kind of sit him in that game. So that didn't make a lot of sense. He looked completely gassed in that game. That was a 2018-19 Joel performance where the numbers are pretty good, but the offense, he's very inefficient. The passing isn't that good. And that's the difference between where he was, let's say 4 years ago. He's the 12th, 13th best player in the league to where he is now, MVP level player. And he doesn't usually do that. And it just seemed like a big mistake from their standpoint. I think they've gotten away with, when to schedule guys and when to give nights off because they've been so resilient. They win these games with one of them out and they just have all these guys step up. But that seemed like a pretty big mistake.
Rich, little follow-up. Sorry, guys. Can I just follow up? Is that more Joel pushing to play in that game or them not being cognizant of the fact that the guy needs a night off? I can't tell what's going on behind the scenes. Does Joel just want to prove, hey, I don't sit? I played X amount of games this year because that used to be a knock on me. What do you think it is?
It's a little bit of both, Rob. They have a department that makes all the decisions, their sports science department, where I think in a lot of cases, it's kind of mapped out before the season starts. It's okay, you have X amount of games here. This is perfect James rest night, perfect Joel rest night. But there is also like a back and forth with the players, and I guess my point is I'm just surprised that whatever their department and Joel couldn't come to that conclusion, because I don't know, like they've played so many games this month. Joel's missed one of them because he was actually a little bit banged up. I don't know. It seemed like maybe they thought because he had been sitting in a lot of the second halves and fourth quarters of these games that he was okay to go for that game. Maybe they just wanted to try and continue to fight for the 2 seed, but usually that decision is made behind the scenes though, Rob, and it was not made this time.
But Rich, do you think there's some truth to what Joel is saying in terms about being mentally and physically exhausted? I mean, let's face it, especially with Harden out, he's had to put this team on his back. And everybody's hacking at him. Everybody's leaning on him. He's expected to do it on both ends of the floor. He is the catalyst to the success of this team. And as phenomenal as he is, he's still human.
Yeah, Connor. I think when I look at what James Harden provides these guys, I think the number one thing is that he makes Joel Embiid's life easier. Like it makes getting through the 82 games, which stinks. It's really hard. It's not fun to play all those games at 300 pounds or whatever he is. He makes it easier, and he does it in a lot of ways. I would say the first way is that I would say like 8 points a game, 10 points a game. All Joel has to do, set a screen, turn around, free throw line jumper, bang. Does not take a lot of effort for him to do that. When you see him against Golden State, and he was tremendous in that game, but it's all ISO stuff. It's all, I got to drive through 2, sometimes 3 guys. I got to take 22 free throws, and it's all on me. I think that is so much more exhausting than being set up by James Harden on a consistent basis. Like he just doesn't have to do it as much. And the other thing we've seen over the weekend that James Harden makes his life easier is that when he sits on the bench, which has been the time-honored Sixers problem, when he sits on the bench, it's always been a disaster. It has not been a disaster this year. They're plus with Harden. And the whole name of the game, guys, is like, if you can just like be even in those minutes or close to even, the Sixers are in business. Like they win the Joel Embiid minutes pretty much throughout his career. So, I think we saw that this weekend where they were completely hopeless without James Harden on that bench lineup. And I'm not saying, Maxey, who's not quite as pure of a point guard, I think, as some people hope. I'm not saying like Shake Milton and Melton. Those guys are able to, at times, and Tobias, they're able to have good performances, but it's just not as consistent as James Harden, who is just like, even at this age, is just built to get dudes good shots. Like he's just really good running the offense. He can play Houston James ball. So I think that is where Joel's fatigue comes from, Gunnar. Like I think he has to carry such a heavy load, and he's really done a good job of that for the most part this year. He kind of plays like the point center role, but it finally caught up to them in like the second to last week of the season when they have a tough West Coast road trip. I don't think it's like a huge cause for concern or anything. It's just kind of a frustrating part of the schedule and a little bit of reality setting in for the Sixers that they need James Harden. They need him.
Do you think Doc has done a good job of getting these young guys ready, like, Milton, Niang, McDaniels? Are they ready to enter into the playoffs in the next couple of weeks?
It's a good question, Barrett. I think he's done a great job with them in the regular season, but their skill sets make me wonder about the playoffs a little bit. And I think those guys and Doc deserve a ton of credit, because it's like I'm saying, Harden misses a month, Maxey misses a month and a half, Joel missed like 3 weeks at separate points earlier in the year, and they just kept rolling. Like they just kept getting these undermanned wins where, whether it's George or Shake or D'Anthony and those guys. But I do wonder that the playoffs are a different beast. And I kind of think, like I compare them to Boston. Boston has 7 players, but they're like a rock solid 7 players. Yeah. They're like every one of those guys is ready for the playoffs. The Sixers in the regular season have like 11, 12 players. But the problem is once you get past even like 4, even past
Doc.
Harris,
Doc is not trying to
where it's like, a lot of one-way skill sets. You have somebody like PJ Tucker who's been really good in some of their big games, but also that does not really seem to like shooting the corner threes that he's lived on in his career. And like, you need to be able to make those to kind of stick on the floor. So I don't know, it's an interesting question. I'm not sure it's all Doc kind of, some of it is the skill set. I think like, watching the Sixers over the past week, it's kind of goofy how I think like McDaniels and maybe even a guy like Daniel House, who hasn't even played a ton this year, but like in theory can guard and make a three is like, you know, I guess my point is I think there's going to be a lot of mixing and matching in the playoffs. Like I think some series it's going to be like, all right, Niang has it this series. Oh, next series he doesn't have it. We're going to go to McDaniels or House or Milton. And, you know, I think that's the way the Sixers are going to have to play. I still am pretty high on this team overall, but it's not going to look like the same formula from night to night. I'm pretty confident about that just because I'm not sure these guys have the skill sets that they can consistently play for a rock solid series all. So.
And Rich, therein lies my greatest fear is here we go again with the bench. You know, I mean, if Melton and he give you something offensively, he's a huge help off the bench. But you get beyond that, you have Niang, who if he's hot, great. If not, he can't really do anything for you. You know, you mentioned House. I mean, I don't know, maybe, but there's not much else. And it feels like we've been through this a million times. And Embiid comes off, and you're falling off a cliff. You know, and I know he split the minutes with Harden and Embiid. He's trying to do that and all those kind of things. But I look at Boston and I look at Milwaukee, and there's way more depth there. And through a long series, you know, I mean, that usually plays in those teams' favors.
It does. And, you know, I think, like, look, Rob, if they play Boston, the way they're going to beat Boston is that if Jason Tatum plays like he did over the past, let's call it like month and a half, and Joel Embiid plays like he did in a month and a half, the Sixers have a really good chance because when your best player is that much better, you know, and the other guy is struggling, they have a chance. But yeah, they're going to go into these series and against those two teams. Really, they're the only two. They're going to go at a depth deficit, I would say. Mm-hmm. And you know, a lot of it is just Harden, though. It really is. Like I agree that their bench is shaky, and you know, I'm not sure I trust these guys. But the whole key is like, Harden, can you keep them afloat for 10 minutes a game? And I think I don't know. He showed that he has. Like I guess we're kind of burying the lead here, guys. Like I think the most worrying thing about the Sixers over the past month is that James Harden in that Bulls game last week looked like James Harden from last year, and he has not played since.
Yep.
And he hasn't played since with Achilles soreness, which again, that's not, you hear Achilles, that's always a scary thing. Guys have come back from that, but the one thing the Sixers need to prove to me, they don't really have anything from a level of play standpoint. Like I'm pretty confident they're a pretty good team. The one thing you got to see before the playoffs is like, this guy's got to look like he did.
Yeah, get to the finish line.
Yeah, and I think I think what they're doing is good. Like be cautious with him. Like these, as much as trying to get the 2 seed would have been nice against Boston, no, you're not doing anything without James Harden. So, if he plays tonight, I know he's questionable again, or whenever it is. Like you just want to see him have the burst that he's had this year and just look like the guy who gives you 20 and 10 consistently. And
that's what I've been saying, Rich. That's what I've been saying. I've been telling these guys, I don't care about where our seed is. I mean, of course I care, but I'd rather have health as opposed to position.
Yeah.
Going to the playoffs.
Yeah. And look, it would have been nice, like, to get the 2 seed, right? Like, I think as good as the Sixers have been on the road, they've been the best road team in the league this year. Come on, when you're playing against the team that's tormented you the entire time, it would have been nice to have game 1 and 2 at the Wells Fargo Center. Like, there's no question about that. Especially because, like, I feel like TD Garden is just a house of horrors for these guys. Like, the skeletons are getting like, they're getting like 1980s level, with that team. Yeah, I'm with you, Barry. And Doc said this like last week. He was like, look, like, we've had injuries the last couple of playoffs. Like it just doesn't matter at some point. Like, we have to be healthy. And like, they've been pretty healthy. They're 3 stars for 3 months, and I don't think that's a coincidence. Oh, best record in the NBA. Like, yeah, James Harden, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey are pretty good players. And when you have those guys healthy, the Sixers team, I think, has showed a level that I haven't seen from these guys since like maybe the Jimmy Butler year, maybe. Even though that regular season was a little more up and down. But yeah, it's all about health, and they know that, which is kind of why, to go back to Rob's first question, I'm a little surprised they didn't just give Joel the night off in Phoenix. It just seemed like the right move.
And see, Rich, my biggest concern is how do you load manage both Harden and Embiid the rest of the way? I think Harden's been out a little bit longer than we anticipated, which is a red flag for me in general in terms of him dealing with his Achilles, especially when you got a team, we keep talking about them trying to jockey up the board to try to catch Milwaukee and Boston. But now they're in a position after losing these last 2. You got New York looking over your shoulder. New York was 4 games behind them, 5 games behind them a week ago. Now they're within 2 games of third, and the Sixers could slip to that 4th spot. and you only have 8 games left now. You got 8 games left, and you're still jockeying for a position. But unlike Boston and Milwaukee, the 76ers are in that unenviable position. Your 2 key players, one's talking about he's mentally fried. The other one is walking wounded right now.
But other than that, everything's great, Rich.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's
I mean, I agree with you guys.
Blow it up.
Like, the good news for the Sixers is, like, this has been like their first bad week in like 3 months.
Yeah.
So it's
True.
okay. Like
True.
it happens, you know. Like the Celtics just had one a couple weeks ago. The Bucks, well, they don't actually lose, so that, you know, they might be the one exception. Yeah, no, it's been a tough week for them. I think the good news, Gunnar, with the Cleveland being 2 games behind them, 3 games up in the loss column, plus the tiebreaker they got. That was one of the kind of sneaky biggest wins of the month. I think the Sixers, you know, there's 9 games left. Like it's a tough 9 games, but you know, get like 5 of those wins. I don't think Cleveland is going to catch you. And it's like, I don't know if they did catch you. Like, all right, so you play the Knicks in the first round, and then you go to Milwaukee first, and then Boston. Like, I don't know. I think they need to stop thinking about seed. I thought for a minute there when they just continued to run off win after win, I think it was fair for them to think, okay, so we got to try and gun for that 2 seed. That would be a big deal. But with the way the week has played out and kind of their injury concerns, and especially their injury concerns with their 2 big players, I think they do need to load manage them. Like whatever that means. Maybe that means like they sit out twice, each of them, you know, in the last 9 games, something like that. But I just think they have to be pretty cautious with them. The good news too, with the other thing with their health is once they get done the season, maybe the last couple games don't matter. They get a full week off with the play-in thing now, which I think is a huge advantage to the teams that actually get into the playoffs on their merit, the top 6 seeds. And I think the Sixers are really going to need that, right? It's been just a brutal month, guys. Like 17 games in 31 days.
A lot of back-to-backs.
12 of which are on the road. They're all good teams they're playing against for the most part too, back-to-backs. Like I think they've handled this month really well, but unfortunately it's kind of caught up to them over the past week where they're just, you know, they're just really banged up. And, you know, I as long as Harden is okay, I think what I've seen from Joel, like whatever that calf issue is, that doesn't seem like that's going to be a long-term thing for him. Harden, we got to see it though.
Yeah, and he's going through a shoot around today as Harden. We'll see. We'll see about tonight. So let's look at tonight, Rich. When they played earlier in the year, Embiid certainly had the better of Jokic. We know that, right? And you know, in one breath he doesn't care about the MVP, and the other breath he does. And Draymond Green's telling him, you know, he was so upset because I said the Joker's the hardest guy. Whatever. I think we all know he cares, despite what he says. As we sit here, and there's tonight, there's a game against Boston, there's a game against Milwaukee. There's a lot that could happen, I think, and influence this and impact it. But is he the MVP as we sit here right now, Embiid?
I think as we sit here, but usually when we're at this point in the season and I say he's the MVP, as we sit here, it's like, all right, he's going to win. I don't think that's the case necessarily, just because, I don't know, I think it's a really close race. Like I think Jokic and Giannis have very good arguments as well. And I think because of these late high-profile games, that could swing some of it. Like, guys, like I think because it's like a 3-man race at the top, some of it is going to come down to like I think there's a chance Embiid and Jokic have like the most first-place votes, and the question is like, who gets put in third more? Who puts Giannis? Like, how many voters put Giannis ahead of Embiid or Jokic or whatever? I think it's going to be like a super close race at the end of it. But I'll put it this way for Joe: if he wins these games, I don't even think he really needs to dominate. If they just win both of these games, I would be stunned if he is not the MVP. It just feels like he's got kind of the narrative. He's got the team has played really well over the past couple of months. And there might be a little bit of voter fatigue with Jokic too as well. Like I think, right or wrong, like I think there is a sense that if you're going to win 3 times in a row, you got to earn it. Like you got to be the clear guy. And like, I think Jokic has been fantastic this year. He's like one of the best offensive players in the league. I know that's an unpopular opinion because you got to trash the guy when you're, when you're arguing for MVP. But I do think Joel would be a very deserving MVP. And it's something he's wanted for a while. And it's, I don't really mind that he wants it too. Like you win the MVP by just being an excellent team player and, kind of lifting your team up to new heights or whatever. And he's done that this year. So right now, I think he's the MVP. But Rob, I think like if we get a couple tough games, like I agree, could see him losing out on it. And it's, it's one of those things.
I think it's very much up in the air. I really do. Rich, last one from me. The teams behind them. Is there anybody you really fear? I mean, I forget Milwaukee and Boston, but of the Cleveland, New York, if you want to throw the Nets in there, Heat, whomever, is there anybody in the East that you say, ooh, watch out, they're coming? Any of those teams really worry you?
I don't. If Harden is healthy, no, I don't. I think the Sixers have earned the benefit of the doubt from me. Just that, I think they're the third best team in the league, guys. Unfortunately, the other two play in the same conference. We'll see what happens with Phoenix once they get Durant back. I could hear an argument that once they're fully formed, that they'll be a better team. But those bottom teams, I think it'll be interesting. The one that stands out to me of that group, and there's a chance the Sixers get them in a 3-6 matchup, is the Miami Heat. I think that would be kind of that would be the scariest one. I think for good reasons for a lot of people, just because you see Jimmy Butler on the court on the other side, when you see Eric Spoelstra on the other sideline, very experienced, really great organization. The thing is, though, guys, they can't score. So, and it's weird. They have a weird thing where 1 year they're the 1 seed, the next year they don't seem like they have it. To me, I've watched them enough. Did you remember the back-to-back at the beginning of the month? Yeah. It's the Sixers play a terrible game.
Lost tier one there, right?
Yep. Yeah, they play a slugfest type game and they lose by 3. It was the worst game the Sixers have played, I think, in the past 2 months or whatever. And probably besides that Phoenix game. And then they go to Miami without Embiid and they just kill them. They beat them by 30. And I kind of look at that and say, if you can't beat that team, what are you doing? You
don't have any business, with any of these discussions we're having. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's I guess how I would look at it. I would say Miami would be the scariest of that group just because of their experience, but that's one where I would not expect the Sixers to struggle. They got to bury that team. They're just better.
Yeah, well said. Well said, Rich. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah,
Great job, bro.
Always follow Rich on Twitter again at Rich_Hoffman. You can follow him on The Athletic as well, covering the Sixers and does an awesome job. Rich, thanks, man. Appreciate
you, bro.
All right, guys. See you.
Be good, man.
Take care. That is Rich Hoffman. Interesting thoughts there, guys. I share Rich's concern with Harden with this thing. Even if he goes tonight, is this a recurring thing? Can he get past this? Is he going to be able to hold up? And Barrett, like you've been saying, man, forget about seeding. Let's just make sure these guys are rested. They're going to have some hard decisions when you play. For example, they play April 2nd at Milwaukee, April 4th at home against Boston. They may be games where you need to sit some guys.
Right.
And that might hurt you having a shot at catching them. But if it makes you, better in the long run, by all means, you got to sit them. And Rich makes a great point about that week off. That's huge too.
Huge.
Yeah, that's big.
Well, unfortunately, the Sixers are in this situation, and they're in a great position. But the two primary cogs in this whole thing are kind of limping to the finish line right now. And we haven't even talked about Embiid with that foot issue. You got to hold your breath because that thing could resurface at any given moment. Also,
don't say that, man.
No, I'm just saying, with that foot issue thing, all you got to do is come down with a rebound the wrong way on somebody's foot. You know how that stuff goes. It's just one thing after another.
Got a little something here. Embiid's out tonight.
So, see,
calf.
Well,
and it looks like Harden's going to play according to Adrian Wojnarowski. So no Embiid. He should have never played Saturday night.
No,
he should have never played Saturday night. It just makes no sense.
No, when you got that calf issue and you had them back to back, and you're going from the top of California down to Arizona in 24 hours, and you're asking to play 2 high-profile games like that, you should have, like you said, you should have rested him Saturday to get him ready for tonight. That's what he should have done.
I'm gonna tell you this: reason why we want him to play is because we want to play against Jokic. I think he would have tried to do a little too much playing against him, and that's why he's sitting him this time. So I mean, from a tactical standpoint, it makes sense from a coach's to look at it like, all right, we'll play him this game. We're not gonna play him next game, but we know he's gonna play like a damn fool. Yeah. If he's playing against you, he wants to show everybody he is no doubt the best player in the league. So it might be some gamesmanship there.
Tone just said there goes his MVP chances.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying yes or no on that, but I just think take the L Saturday against Phoenix, and he plays tonight. And I know what Barrett's saying. He makes a really good point that we're probably not thinking of, that he's going to try and just do anything. But if he's rested, if he's better rested, you're not as worried about him going as hard on
absolutely
tonight. Just take the loss against Phoenix. You're going to sit both he and Harden. I mean, I don't get it. I think that's an organization. Even if Joel was like, no, I want to play. Sorry, man, you're not.
You're not playing. I mean, and keep in consideration, they still have 2 heavyweight games coming up, Milwaukee and Boston. You got 2 heavyweight games coming up.
I don't like
He's
this.
a little pissed right now, though. I can almost guarantee he's pissed. Wow. About that.
This is a strange one from the Sixers. It's bizarre the way that this thing's been handled. It really is. Anyway, all right. I don't get it. Should have set out the Phoenix game. I had to get it out of my system one more time. Okay.
Whoa. It's only Monday. Hold on here, fella.
I know. All right.
I like fiery Rob, man.
Yes. Deep breaths. All right. So we'll come back. Let's dig back into the big story of the day with Lamar Jackson. And I think what we can do, guys, is look into potential landing spots, which you didn't really get a chance to get into. What teams could be in the running here, because there are still a lot of teams. Maybe one of the teams that we thought was going to draft one of those young kids, maybe they become, a force here in trying to get him. So let's touch base on that when we come back and dig into a bunch of other NFL stuff. One former All-Pro is going back home, so to speak. Sean Payton speaking, Andy Reid talking about the Eagles today at the owners meeting. So we'll do all those kind of things when we come back. Don't go anywhere. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Flynn Tree Services right now. Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted trees off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. So if you have any types of issues in your tree or yard, great time to get this done before the spring and summer really kick in, okay? And just a quick phone call away. They're experts at trimming all types of trees, and they serve southeastern Pennsylvania, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, as well as tree pruning. You go to their Facebook or their Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Imagine for a moment that you went to work today and when you came home, you were catastrophically injured. Your life and your family's life. That's what happened to union construction worker Mike Little.
I was scared of what the end was going to be, but to be 100% honest with you, I knew I was going to be all right just by talking with Brian. In my heart, I just knew everything was going to be all right.
Call the firm and find out why they say, "We got this." Call 215-458-2222.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm Managing Director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
They're carving them up and good play calling along the way. First and goal at the 6.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
All right, we're back. Fast first 2 hours of the program. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, guys, let's get into some NFL talk. Let's revisit what we were talking about a little bit earlier with Lamar Jackson, who was put in for a trade request. Now, John Harbaugh said today, we're proceeding as scheduled. Oh, okay, believe whatever you want to believe. But they this appears like a divorce is headed here. It's imminent between these two. Now, one of the questions when you look at this thing is, who are some of the teams out there who are still very much in need of a quarterback? And if you look at it, there's a couple that spring to mind, right? Let's start in the NFC. Washington Commanders. They're sitting there right now. They have Sam Howell. They grabbed Jacoby Brissett, correct, as their backup.
Yep.
So they certainly have a couple of guys who they could potentially go with, but neither one of, let's be frank, neither one of those guys is Lamar Jackson. So, 8-1 team that feels like they're pretty close. You throw him into that mix with some of those weapons that they have, that could be interesting for sure.
No question about it. The only problem right now is until Washington fixes that offensive line, Lamar will be running for his life every time he stepped back to pass. True. But in terms of people he could throw the football to or hand off to, they are very deep in those areas of the game. And dangerous. On top of that, you put him in Eric Bieniemy offense. Are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
That's the last thing the other three teams in the NFC East would want to see.
Yeah,
bro. That'd be the perfect mix because he would have weapons to go to. It would be crazy how well that offense could be able to run. Just like you said, throwing to weapons like that. Number one, number two, having a running game with two guys that can play. That's a nice mix. I just don't see the Washington Commanders doing something that well, I can't see it. That'd be too much like Wright, and I can't see them doing that.
Yeah. It feels like they would just get in their own way.
Right.
All right. So couple other teams that he may be in line for here. Now, keep in mind, you still have the sort of usual suspects who are at the top of the draft, like, I wouldn't say Carolina because they've given a ton up already. So I'm not saying them, but maybe Houston, maybe the Colts, maybe some of those teams along those lines. I don't know if I would, trying to think of some, maybe Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Atlanta's definitely, I think, in the mix. But so let any of those teams I think are possible. Other teams in the NFC. Does Green Bay love Jordan Love?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they're going to commit to him. That's why they're trying to get rid of A-Rod now. Now, I mean, even with that trade, what's the holdup on that? I mean, why are both teams sitting there and not just go ahead and do it? Eventually, it's going to happen.
It feels like maybe the Jets are just trying to jack everybody up, for a crazy return. At least that's the way Rodgers kind of laid it out.
What do you say?
Could the Jets be in the mix for Lamar Jackson if the A-Rod thing doesn't work out?
Could they?
That's a can you imagine him in that offense?
But that would be fascinating. Like if you just pull the chair out from under that one, where Rodgers is basically like, I'm playing for the Jets or nobody else. Okay, dude. Well, the Jets are out. Where are you playing now?
Meanwhile, Green Bay is saying, "Hey man, I was just playing. You can have Aaron Rodgers. Give us a fifth or a sixth. You can have it."
Yeah, exactly. You're right. This could weirdly help the Jets. This whole thing.
I'm telling you, man. Look, you send them to Houston. We talk about Houston as a team in rebuild. If you send them to Houston, and if Houston was willing to give up the first pick, I mean, Houston's got two great running backs. They picked up Devin Singletary now to go with Dameon Pierce, good young running back.
Yeah, I like Pierce.
You got Robert Woods, okay. Noah Brown of Dallas. You guys heard me talk about it. I love him as a young receiver.
Right.
They got two okay receivers. Tight end, now they got Dalton Schultz from the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. You You got Laramie. Yeah, you got Laramie Tunsil and Shaq Mason and Titus Howard on your offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad. We keep talking about Houston's in rebuild mode. Okay, yeah. You look at defense. They have Malik Collins, Sheldon Rankins, Christian Harris now.
Young secondary, man.
Jimmy
and
Ward,
a good defensive minded head coach too.
They picked up Jimmy Ward from the 49ers. Derek Stingley. They drafted in the first round
from LSU.
Dude, that's not a bad nucleus of players you got down in Houston. You put a Lamar Jackson down there.
Petrie from the from Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
All those guys played and got experience now. They played this last year, so
they are a candidate to make a serious improvement. I'm not telling you playoffs, but
right.
Definitely. I'm just thinking with that, Lamar, he wants to go down south. He wants to go to Atlanta. That's what I heard.
Yeah, he's a Florida kid. He's a Miami kid.
So what if he goes to Miami? Any chance of that?
Didn't they just pick up Tua's fifth-year option? They've been spending like drunken sailors the last couple of years. Do they have enough cap space and whatnot to be able to pull it off? Maybe. I'm sure he'd love to go there.
They got the draft capital, though. They don't have the draft capital anymore, though.
No,
they don't have it anymore. They sold that off to get the receiver.
They don't have a first rounder, if I'm looking at this right.
Right. They send everything in the kitchen sink to
for Tyreek.
Kansas City, yeah.
Yeah, they might be tough for Miami just from an ammunition standpoint to be able to.
They got Chubb too. They traded for Chubb last year.
Yep. Yeah. Well, all right. So let's run through candidates here. Jets. They're a little out of the box, but not crazy. Would Belichick make a move?
Ooh.
No.
The hoodie.
I don't think he's Belichick's kind of quarterback. I don't think he'd fit in Belichick's system.
I mean, he's Brady pocket guy, but
Mac Jones, Brady. Well, I don't know. I don't think that would work in New England.
Okay.
Yeah,
at least they got an offensive coordinator now, though.
Yeah, O'Brien there now.
Yeah, so at least they got an offensive coordinator.
All right, I'll give you some other potentials here.
The Colts, that's like sending them to purgatory.
Colts.
Oh man, I'll come back and play for that 32 million franchise. Please don't send me to Indianapolis, please.
Is Tennessee to cap gut it to be able to do anything? I mean, I'm not sold on does Tannehill winning you a Super Bowl? That's the question you ask yourself.
But see, they came out and said they're committed to Tannehill. You're gonna go back on your word now?
That means nothing now.
Well, I know.
Because they're gonna in Baltimore, they're gonna backtrack and say, well, we went in enough direction, and I mean, I just don't believe anything they say now. Crazy, man.
All right. Well, all right. Let's hit a couple other candidates here. Yeah, I think Indy's a possibility for sure. Houston, we'll see. I think Houston's probably going to draft a young guy and just build from there. But we'll see.
Absolutely, they are.
Washington.
We'll see.
I think New Orleans. Even Derek Carr, forget that.
No, they got Derek Carr.
Atlanta, out west.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I mean,
I don't think anybody out west in the NFC.
Maybe Tampa.
Tampa definitely, yeah. Tampa. Baker Mayfield's 1 year, and that's for
got a lot of weapons in Tampa.
Maybe Tampa.
I think Tampa's a possibility. Again,
he's
from the Miami area, which is
What are you thinking about Detroit? Are they in love with
No, they love Goff. They love Goff. Goff had a phenomenal year last year. Yeah, they're not going to mess up that chemistry. Atlanta, they keep saying they're committed to Ritter. Would you give me Lamar Jackson? I'm saying Desmond who? Hey man, look, I know what we told you, but look, we're sending you here. We're trying to give you a fresh start. We love you, but we got this dude named Lamar waiting to come here, and it just ain't gonna work. I mean, you got Drake London down there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, the Desmond Ritter thing goes out the window if you really are interested in Lamar.
Yeah, so I mean that's and plus he's a young guy. He's only on his second year of that rookie contract. You can sit him down just like Love has been sitting down for the past 4 years or 5 years this year.
Yep. Yeah.
So
all right, well it's food for thought though. I mean, you just do wonder if some of the teams that look like they were just definitely going to take a young kid in the first round, maybe jump into this mix. So we'll see. Financially, you're giving up a lot more. That's for sure. All right, Bobby.
Side?
What's that?
The AFC side. You think there's any chance he goes somewhere?
I think the Jets thing is interesting.
Just the Jets, yeah. Jets.
I think
and Colts. Jets and Colts are the only team. Maybe the Titans, like you said.
Yeah, Titans maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably it. Bobby Wagner back to the Seahawks.
Wow.
And big, he still could. Dude, his numbers were awesome last year.
Yeah, he balled out.
Yeah,
he was a cap casualty.
See, there's a prime example of a player leaving and saying, I can't believe they, after what I did for that organization, they turned their backs to me. All of a sudden, well, we made up. Look at Jaron Reed, went to Green Bay for 1 year. He's going back to Seattle now. So Seattle's defense, which was trash, don't look so bad now.
Nope.
Put Bobby Wagner back in the middle of that defense. Jaron Reed back in the trenches. A little bit different now.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
That's a good move. That's a good move, Seattle.
I love that move for Seattle.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing they had was, they didn't have was the defense. And now with Wags being back in there, I mean, they may make some noise, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like their secondary. Diggs.
Oh,
Woolen balled out, man.
Oh, he was awesome.
Yeah.
He was incredible. He's a converted wide receiver.
Yep. Well, he ran a 4.2.
Yeah.
At corner. And then, they bring in Julian Love at the nickelback / safety position. I mean, I like what I'm seeing up there. And, they got the deal done with Geno. They have a good tight end and Noah Fant. The only thing is, they're going to beat up on Kenneth Walker. They're going to run the heck out of that little guy.
Yeah, without Penny.
Yeah, yeah. He's going up. He's coming downhill. They're going to play him. But, they did a good job with their offensive line, bringing in two guys that started for them last year, and Lucas and Cross, and having those two young tackles, learn, and just by throwing them out there. They both got, and towards the end of the season, they both played very, very well. So that's good for them. Their offensive lines were pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question. All right, so a couple other odds and ends. Sean Payton, very clear. We are not trading either Jerry Jeudy or Cortland Sutton. What all the speculation was not coming from our end.
Would you?
No.
If I'm Sean Payton, I'm like, hey, hold up here. I came into this job looking at this roster like this. I have a plan here. I have the pieces I need. I don't want to worry about trying to cultivate a first-round draft pick receiver. I got exactly what I need right now.
Well, yeah, I want to see what these two guys look like with a real offense being run.
Yes, absolutely.
He was pretty funny. They asked Peyton, did you go back and look at all the tape from last year?
Yeah.
He said, it was tough to watch. So he didn't really pull any punches. That was a disaster last year with Nathaniel Hackett. Anyway, so, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade those guys. I want to see what this looks like, with everybody right.
Yes. I don't blame him one bit. I think Sean Payton is going to turn that thing around. I really do. I think here we go again, talking about who can compete with Kansas City. I think a Sean Payton coached Denver team can compete with Kansas City.
Can you're saying?
Can compete with the Kansas City, yes.
Yeah. That division, like if you looked at it, I really think the Chargers should have changed coaches. But anyway, the Chargers have some talent. But if the Raiders can get their act together, it's a big if. Denver's going to be better. Chargers are at least going to be a competitive team, and then it's the Chiefs. It's not an easy division for sure. Sean McDermott's going to call the defensive plays for the Bills, this is a very important season for him and that team because they've been a close but no cigar team for a little bit here. It's time.
Yeah, the SOS is out for Sean. That team was loaded. That team was loaded. You were in prime position to get it done, and you didn't. You fell short twice, 2 years in a row. And now you're starting to see some of the cracks in the armor. Devin Singletary is gone. Devin Singletary is a good little running back. They're losing other players in the trenches, and now it's on you. Your defense wasn't one. Is what your defense was not what it was last year, what it was in 2021.
Yep.
And so now the SOS is out. You gotta do something. You gotta throw that life raft out now, man. But you could be on the hot seat. They gave you everything you wanted and needed to succeed, and you fell flat twice.
Yeah, no doubt. So Robert Sala says that Zach Wilson is firmly the number 2, which when you think about it,
why did you bring that up?
2 things. He definitely played like it. Number 2.
In a literal sense.
Literally, it's number 2. But the other part is like, okay, if he's number 2, if you don't even have this thing done with Aaron Rodgers yet, who's number 1?
You don't have a number 1. They only have 2 quarterbacks on the. I think it's 1 quarterback.
Mike White is gone.
White's out of there.
You only have 1
And they
quarterback
didn't
on the
re-sign
roster.
Flacco. He's gone.
The backup quarterback is Chris Strever.
Yeah, that guy. He came into one of those Thursday night games, which was a total nightmare. Remember
Right,
that?
right.
Yeah.
So what are they talking about? He's a firm number 2. You don't even have a number 1. What are you talking about? A firm number 2?
You went out and signed all these receivers, and you don't have anybody
You
to
want
throw
your
the
number
ball
2
to them.
firm. No, sorry.
What'd you say? See,
I'm trying
there
to
you
grow.
go. There you go.
I know. Sorry. I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry, Derek.
You don't want to run
See,
it.
just like
No.
Zemethi and Watson just said, Rob, out of pocket. There you go.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, people. I'm trying to control myself.
You just open that door.
What is it though? How do you do? How do you approach this? They have not pulled the trigger yet.
I know.
And we're talking about like $100 million that is owed. That A-Rod is owed. Can they take that salary on? How much are they go? How much is Green Bay going to be on the hook? I mean, they're trying to work that out.
That's why this thing I think is complicated.
Man, that's ridiculous, man. Because at this point, I think they said it's like 57, 58 owed this year.
Right. That's what it is.
Okay, so let me ask you about this. Who's holding who hostage? Green Bay or the Jets? Who's holding who hostage here?
It's a good question, Derek, because we all automatically assume that Green Bay's asking for the world, back, right? And the Jets may be saying, you better eat some of this because we're not taking on this whole bad boy here. We got to figure this thing out. I don't know.
Come on, Just, man. Come on, Jeff.
What?
Just put, Lamar just went to San Fran.
No, he didn't.
No, don't say that. That's another team I wouldn't want to see him with. San Francisco?
Well, he wouldn't want. He wouldn't want to.
That ain't happening.
No.
That ain't happening.
Well, what if he did with that team? What if you put Lamar on that team?
Yeah, look, I'll tell you this. Today, Lynch at the owners' meetings said that they view it as Purdy's job to lose, basically.
Right.
He's in the driver's seat. He said, quote, I think Brock has earned the right with the way he played. He's probably the leader in the clubhouse. And he said, I'll let Kyle Shanahan make those decisions. But I know when we talk, Brock has probably earned the right. So that means Trey Purdy and those guys are not to mention what's his name? Darnold is there too. Mm-hmm. Those guys are you give a lot up for Trey Lance.
Yeah, they did. This was 3 first rounders for him.
Whew.
I think it was 3.
Man.
So yeah, I mean, Lance, has all the measurables. 6'4", 225 pounds. Cannon of an arm.
Yeah.
But just didn't do it. He didn't wow anybody, man. That's what I'm saying. You only got a short amount of time to maximize the experience that a team is looking for you and looking for you to do. He just has done nothing when given the opportunity. Yeah, he got hurt. We get that. But they still weren't confident. Not even in, you can at least woo him in practice. You can at least, make yourself look good in practice. He didn't even put it like this. He didn't even have the veteran players on his side. He's like, well, I mean, you got to show us something. They were like less than enthusiastic on him being the starter going into last year.
Yeah, you're right. It's interesting. You're right. He generally, when you get a lot of benefit of the doubt when you give up as much as they gave up and took them where they took them, but they didn't seem so. I mean, Jimmy G was supposed to be out of there. Somehow Jimmy G was still hanging around because they didn't feel that trust. Yeah, they didn't feel that trust in Trey Lance. Yeah, that's another one to keep your eye on there. A couple other NFL notes. This one is driving me crazy, guys. It looks like the roughing the passer call is not going to be reviewable. Like, to me, there's a lot of egregious stuff that goes on in the league, but none worse than when a defensive player just makes a tackle of a quarterback, and there's nothing more to it, and the guy gets a flag.
For landing on top of the quarterback now.
Oh.
I saw that a couple of times.
Now?
That's what they're saying. The hope was you were going to be able to review it this year. But the way, from what we're hearing, you're not going to be able to review it. It's going to be just the flag, and that's it. Either it is or it isn't. It's going to be at the official's discretion with no review.
That's that. How many times have we seen where a defender barely brushes a quarterback's face mask and call it pass interference, and they miss the call completely? Sometimes they'll hook the face mask, and it doesn't get called. Are you kidding me? They're going to put this in the hands of the refs now?
Yeah,
that's scary. They can't get it right with replay.
Yeah,
nope, that's what I'm saying. And oh man, there's gonna be a lot of this games decided on that, and it's gonna be horrible,
garbage,
horrible, man. Yep. Why mess with it? Why are they messing with it anyways?
Well, I want them to mess with it because I want it to be reviewable. It wasn't before. You know what I'm saying?
It wasn't.
No, now they're leaving it. They're just keeping it as a status quo.
Oh, that's BS, man.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That is definitely a tough one. There's no doubt. Well, yeah, look, what's the matter?
No, I'm just saying, man, I can't believe they're even considering that.
Yeah. Guess who just got signed? Who's still hanging around? Sidney Jones. Remember Sidney Jones?
Oh, yeah, the DB cornerback.
Oh yeah,
second round pick.
He signed with the Bengals.
Oh,
1 year
deal.
deal.
Good look for him. That's a good look for him.
All right, let me throw some names at you here, guys, of free agents who are still available. Okay. So now this could just be, hey, really like the guy, probably not a fit for the Eagles, or could be a fit for the Eagles, whatever. Odell Beckham Jr. is still out there. Now he's going to be too rich for the Eagles blood, but he's still out there. There's a thought that he ends up with the Jets with Aaron Rodgers if that ever happens.
Wait a minute. You put Odell with Garrett Wilson. And who else did they just sign? They traded Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore. They got
Alan Lazard, Garrett Wilson, and who else was it?
Corey Davis.
You're gonna Odell. So again, you're looking to get more pass catchers, and you don't have anybody throwing the ball. That is the most butt backward way of putting this thing together I've ever seen.
It makes no sense, man. Like we know the deal's gonna be done. We know the deal's gonna be done. You know, it's an absolute certainty because the way to talk to him. Yes, because I mean, for him to say Zach Wilson is the solid. Solid.
You had to mention that name again, didn't you? You just had to go there.
I mean, of course, man. You know, it was just too good to stop. You know, when you're talking about the MILF hunter.
Then you had to add that in there. Here we go. It is exactly.
It's not a cuss word.
No,
it's not a cuss word.
No.
What
man knows what he likes.
The word MILF is not a cuss word?
No. Well,
really? What does MILF stand
if you
for?
actually say it all the way out?
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. Here we go. See, here we go. MILF hunter. There's two so far.
I mean,
here we go.
A cuss word, man.
Well, MILF is not. You're right, but I'm saying, like Rob said, if you said the word, it is.
I'm not saying the word. I'm saying MILF.
Okay.
Right, okay. It's only Monday.
So he likes. Should say.
Cougar? He likes experience.
Experience.
Yes.
I mean, at least it's not a lady of the night.
No, it's all good. It's all the up and up.
Or are they? We don't know.
Well, I mean, he likes Mom's best friends.
Wow.
Yes, and Mom is not a bad choice either.
Strong, very strong.
Strong genes. Yeah. Wow. All right. So Jarvis Landry's still out there, fellas.
Jarvis would be a great third receiver for us.
Right? That's one I'm thinking maybe.
Ooh.
I can't believe Jarvis is still on the market, to be honest.
And he would want to come here as a destination point too.
Yeah, maybe. I guess definitely possible.
Wow, can you imagine him? But can you imagine on third downs what happened? You know, because we like to run a lot of 11 personnel, anyways. One running back, one tight end, and then we have three receivers out there. You put him at the slot. He's made his living killing people in the slot,
no doubt.
And then with him, Smith, and Brown on the outside, that'd be deadly. But he's another health guy, so you can probably get him cheap because of that.
Yeah. There's some
issue.
There's some O linemen. I wouldn't necessarily say the Eagles are in the running for these guys, but anyway, there are some offensive linemen out there. Isaiah Wynn is one. Taylor Lewan, who was good, but he's hurt a ton. Donovan Smith, who looks like he's definitely on the back nine from Tampa. Yeah. Guys who I think could still play and help teams for sure. But I don't know.
Penn State guy too.
Yeah, Donovan Smith. Yeah, absolutely. It's offense. Let me throw some defensive names. I don't want any parts.
The only thing with the offensive linemen, the ones that I've looked at, they're all 32, 31, 32, 32. You know what I mean? They're all up there.
Yeah, and you really, considering Kelsey and Lane, you got to start getting younger with guys. And you have some guys on the bench for sure, but you want to get younger.
Yep.
I don't want any parts of Clowney. Clowney's available.
No,
no, thank you.
I'll take a pass.
Another guy I wouldn't want any parts of is Bud Dupree.
Yeah, he's hurt a lot.
Yeah.
But he's out there. He's a name. There's a couple edge guys like Frank Clark's still out there. Frank Clark's had his share of run-ins, but Frank Clark can play. Melvin Ingram on the edge, Yannick Ngakoue on the edge. There's some names.
I would want Yannick Ngakoue. I think he lost it.
I'm surprised these guys are still on the market based just on their name. I'm just shocked.
Money? Maybe they're asking too much. I don't know.
Yeah, but they get humbled. This is the time of free agency where all these people asking for a lot of money get humbled real quick.
True.
Mm-hmm.
True. Rocky Sin is out there.
Good cornerback.
Temple
guy.
Yep.
I would take him if we were still looking for a corner. We're not looking for a corner anymore. What about Miles Jack?
Yes, linebacker. Yeah. I don't know. Was he? He was last in Pittsburgh.
He's 28. He's 28.
He's only 28.
Yeah, he was in Pittsburgh. Started for him, played well for him. I don't know why he's.
They don't usually let guys go. Well, sometimes they do. Hargrave got out of there. Yeah, it's a name.
You look at the linebackers; they got some interesting. Now they're all between 28 and 31. You have Cleveland's Deion Jones is 29. Zach Cunningham, Tennessee, 29. These are all good linebackers. Damian Wilson, Carolina, 30. Anthony Barr, Dallas, 31. They're all.
You asked about him the other day.
Yeah.
Anthony Barr. You think he would fit? I don't think he fits in our scheme.
We don't know what the scheme is yet. We don't know. I don't know. Unless you got inside information, I don't know. I don't know what Sean decides running, to be honest.
Right.
We say the base is a 3-4, but everything's a hybrid now. Nothing is what it used to be.
Yeah,
I don't know what the heck he's running. You know what I mean?
They're gonna run the over and under front with that hybrid.
Could Anthony Barr fit that?
At the middle, he'd have to be the Mike. That means you'd have to move.
Yeah.
You'd have to move
Kobe to weak side.
Kobe Dean to the weak side. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the Kobe would be just. I'm hoping again based on potential. I think he could be just as effective on the weak side as he would be in the middle.
Well, in the 3-4 system, depending on how they run it, it's still the same guy. He'll still be in the middle of the defense. And,
you have two inside. Yeah.
Yep. So he would still be that type of linebacker. Let me ask you guys this. What about Marvin Jones?
For the wide receiver?
Yeah, from Jacksonville.
He's 33.
He's an option.
What about Julio Jones? But he's 34.
Oh, man, I think both guys have definitely seen better years. Is it possible that, especially with a guy like Julio, he's still looking for a pretty good payday?
I think he may be.
Now that you brought up receivers, what about these two names? They would fit as a slot role because we know a slot role in this Eagles offense is an understudy. It's not a star position. How about Byron Pringle out of Chicago, 30 years old, and Brashard Perryman from Tampa Bay is 30 years old?
I like Pringle.
I don't like Barry. Well, of course you like Pringle. He's a Kansas State guy. But
I don't want him there. I don't want.
Never mind.
But Perryman, I don't want him because he's done nothing. First rounder, just done nothing. I wouldn't want him.
You also have Randall Cobb's 33. What about he's a solid slot guy. He's 33, but he's 33 now. What about him?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, maybe. I'll tell you. Look, one name we didn't get to is Rodney McLeod.
There you go. Bring him back.
I'll give you another one.
He's already said he'll come back and once.
If we're talking about reclamation projects, how about Eric Rowe playing safety now?
I saw that one. I was like, I don't know. What do you think? Eric Rowe.
Is he available?
Yeah, he's available.
He was in Miami last year, I think. I think it was Miami last year.
Yeah, I think it was Miami. Yeah.
He's available, yes.
Interesting.
Eric Rowe's a safety instead of corner. I don't know, man. Still Eric Rowe. I don't know.
Well, if that's the case, would you bring in a Matt Pryor as a swing tackle? He's only 28 years old.
Yeah, Matt Pryor.
I would.
Yeah, he was here before. Yeah,
I would.
Absolutely.
Yes.
If we're bringing in reclamation projects.
Yep.
If that's the case, he'd be on my depth chart ahead of Jack Driscoll.
Yeah. I like that. Actually.
Right.
I would go that route.
Now that you say it.
Yeah. All right, let's hit it. Let's come back. We'll revisit a couple other Eagles things that we did. We got a little news. Villanova women's hoops for you. A bunch of other things, birthdays, movies, all the good stuff that we do in the final segment. Oh, Pryor got signed according to LAFK, so he may be an option.
Okay.
All right, we'll hit it. We'll come back, and a lot more to dig into for sure as we roll into the final segment of the show. That's Derek. That's Barrett. I'm Rob. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. I want to tell you right now about Razor Technology. I mentioned last week I was at the Razor's Edge conference down at Ocean, which was awesome. Ocean Casino Resort, incredible event. I got to hang out with a bunch of really good people, learn a lot about the business, and they're one of the great sponsors of our show, and we do appreciate it. But I want to let everybody know the future of work is not remote or in person. It's a hybrid model. In facing this new reality, businesses must reimagine their workplaces to align with the preferences and needs of modern employees. Razor Technology helps businesses create a workplace that gives their teams flexibility in choosing how and where they put their hours in. Online platforms for communication and collaboration combined with secure and adaptable mobile devices are enabling hybrid meeting experiences that are nearly on par with in-person events so everyone can feel like they are a part of the conversation. Employees with strong social connections with their team report better well-being, higher productivity, and better retention rates. Razor Technology helps growing organizations adapt to their hybrid environments with industry-leading digital tools and insightful guidance that promotes efficiency and workplace satisfaction. Learn more by calling Razor Tech today at 866-797-3282, 866-797-3282, or visit them online at razor-tech.com. That's razor-tech.com.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
I get scared sometimes.
Of a lot of things.
Joining in.
Decisions.
The dark.
The dark.
But I once heard someone say,
But as I always say,
it's okay to be afraid.
as long as you face the fear.
And keep moving forward.
Wherever you are in life, count on the name trusted in insurance for over 80 years. Independence Blue Cross. Is the best vacation one that you find or one you get lost in? One that takes you to new heights or reminds you to go with the flow, to get your feet wet and your wheels spinning? One that lets you find your own rhythm or get carried away? Find the best of yourself. Get lost in the woods. Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Plan your day with confidence.
Keep the umbrellas on hand.
With Action News and AccuWeather.
Numerous tornadoes.
Your go-to team when severe weather strikes.
The water is still rising.
Keeping you prepared wherever you watch. Action News and AccuWeather, the team you trust.
We all know that taxes are just part of life. It's true during our working years, but also in retirement. But what you might not know is up to 85% of your Social Security benefits might be taxed. Our team at Thrive Financial has helped retire thousands of people across the Delaware Valley by asking questions they never knew they needed to ask, including how their Social Security benefits might be taxed. It's time to be proactive on taxes. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
As a hardworking American, you've never experienced how tough life can be until now. A catastrophic injury while working on the job. A personal injury from someone else's negligence. Turned away by other law firms in the region who didn't bother to learn your story. It's time to meet the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm and managing partner Brian Fritz. Badly injured? Call the Fritz & Bianculli Law Firm. Find out why they say, "We got this."
Final segment of the show. We appreciate you hanging out with us. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, so I don't know if you guys saw any of this last night, but women college hoops, Caitlin Clark of Iowa went for a 40-piece triple-double. She is unreal. Let's just start there. But she goes for 41, 12, and 10 last night, and Iowa gets to their first Final Four since 1993. She's unbelievable, man. She is spectacular. She was great last night.
A 40-piece. Damn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she can do everything, man. She's all over the place. I mean, there's some fun storylines there. You have South Carolina, who plays again tonight to get to the Final Four, who's undefeated, who hasn't lost in 2 years. Dawn Staley just keeps tearing it up. It's unbelievable what she's doing. But yeah, that was some kind. I was watching it last night after the men's stuff ended, just kind of flipping around a little bit, and she was going to town. They played Louisville last night. It was a good game. But she's been a great player. Nova women unfortunately lost Friday after we got off the air, and they had a great
tough
season.
game, man.
Yeah, it was a tough. They were down huge and came all the way back, and then ended up losing in the end. Maddie Segrest, who is their best player, had a year of eligibility remaining, and she's going to declare for the WNBA draft. There's nothing else she has to prove at the college level. Good for her.
I see my girl Bella Runyon though.
She's tough, man. Tough.
Her and my daughter had classic battles together. You know what I'm saying? Me and John used to be at the games, man. And, everybody's looking at us, them two battling back and forth. You know what I mean? And everybody turn around looking at us like, let the girls play. Don't turn around looking at us. Nothing to do with that.
Yeah, she plays like her daddy played. She's tough. She's
and she can shoot the three.
She'll get on the floor, like she's not afraid to whatever it takes to win, man. She's
tough, real hard nose,
good player.
Well, how about the UConn women? First time since 2007 they're not in the Final Four.
Right, man.
Since 2007.
I know, it's crazy. It is.
Jeez.
They had a lot of injuries. They lost the Paige Beckers and a bunch of other girls early in the season, and they were really, it was a battle to overcome that. You watch, they'll be back.
Oh, they're loaded. You look at the roster they got coming back, they're loaded.
Yeah.
And their recruiting class.
You guys will see this if you can get a chance to check it out. But JT Real Muto got ejected from an exhibition game today. Ridiculous. He's holding out his glove for the umpire to give another ball. Puts the glove down just as the ump's about to give it to him. The ump tosses him for it. Real Muto was like,
Are you kidding me?
What happened? I'm being thrown out for what? Yeah, it's typical oversensitive umpiring. Let me make it about me.
Oh, was he a little too sensitive?
Yes, exactly. Exactly, man. So that was kind of interesting there. Another thing, we were talking about the NFL. Let me just circle back to this. So, Robert Saleh at the owners' meetings regarding the Jets and trying to get Aaron Rodgers, saying, quote, "It takes two to tango. It's a process. We respect the process, and whenever it gets done, it'll get done." I mean, it sounds like they don't have much doubt it's going to get done, but for whatever it's worth, it's still not gotten done. I mean, we're still here.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, boy, you guys are in a bad way with all that pass catching ability. And I'm not saying his name. You got that guy, the number ZW. 2 guy, who moves up to number 1 all of a sudden.
Yes. Yeah.
And it messes up their draft desires also, because now you got to scramble. Do we need to get a quarterback in the future now?
Right. And they're going to have more resources for the draft if they're not trading for him.
Yeah.
So that's another thing to keep your eye on.
That might bode well for the Eagles, who's sitting there at 10.
Yep.
True. That is true.
Mm-hmm. No question. No, there is no doubt. The other thing that was interesting is Saleh basically said, like Odell Beckham is very much on our radar. A lot of times guys won't even comment on players who aren't their own. So
wow, he came out and said that.
Yeah, he said he's on our radar. Yeah.
So they're sitting at 13. They trade with the Eagles, get to 10. We go back and get the 13th pick and get some more draft commodities. Maybe in the second or third round, because we don't have a 4th, 5th, and a 6th.
Right.
So I mean, it's not like we were sitting there twiddling our thumbs for 1.5 days. You know what I mean?
Oh, and that's the worst. Just as a fan or a media, it sucks when they trade out of that first day. You're just like, really?
Right. What do we do? You know what I mean?
I've done draft shows where they've done that, where I'm on for like 4 hours beforehand and nothing happens, and you're just like, really?
Nothing to talk about. I was sitting right there next to you.
Yeah. True.
You've done drafts. So I was sitting right there next to you.
True. Yeah. Or they draft Marcus Smith, and we're all scrambling to find out who Marcus Smith is.
What the hell? I'm like, Marcus. I was on remote, and they instantly come to me. I'm the player. What do you say about Marcus Smith? Who the hell is Marcus Smith? Oh my God.
I've been there, done that.
And then they call him, right? You know what I'm saying? And he tells the truth. Yeah, man, I was asleep. I didn't think I was getting drafted till tomorrow.
That's always a great sign.
Or how about when they use a high draft pick and draft a fireman? You're like, who?
You find out he's 26.
Danny Watkins.
You're like,
what?
From Canada, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? Like,
just started playing football recently. Like, great.
From Baylor, who at that point was a troubled Baylor then.
Yeah, there was a lot going on at Baylor. Yeah,
I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, the whole thing, man, the whole thing. Luka Doncic avoided a 1-game suspension after his 16th technical foul was rescinded by the league from yesterday. Yeah, they rescinded it. They announced Monday that the technical had been rescinded after review, about 5 hours after the Mavericks road game. Here's what I'll say. He dodged a bullet here with this one. And look, everybody in that league is always on the refs. He is brutal with that.
Yes.
Doncic is crying 24/7, man. Always. It's tough to watch sometimes.
He'll get that 16th one before the regular season's over.
Yeah, he can't help himself. He might get it next game he plays.
Yes.
He can't help himself. Yeah, I agree with you. So that was interesting. The other big news of the day, just to circle back, the Joel Embiid will not play tonight against the Nuggets. It looks like Harden may play, but no Embiid tonight. I think the Sixers. I think they just botched this thing a million ways. Go ahead, Barry.
I don't even want him to play anyways. I don't want Embiid to play. In fact, I don't want Harden to play. Let him chill. Let him relax. Sit back. Yeah. Get better, man. We don't need you right now, man. I mean, I don't want him to play right now. So let both stars sit down, and then I want to see what these young guys. This is playoff basketball. For them, it's playoff basketball. See how they're going to react. Oh, about a string, I appreciate you, string. Let me know. Matt Pryor signed with our nemesis, the 49ers.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah. He's going
to work out of the string.
Ooh.
Yeah, he signed
with
the
a good role spot for him.
Yep. Yeah. Well, he can start because the right tackle that's there right now sucks.
Yeah.
And he's the backup to the back tackle that sucked. You know what I'm saying? The other tackle went to, I think, Denver.
McGlinchey went to Denver, got a huge deal in Denver.
Yeah. Huge deal. I'm just hating on him because he's richer than I am. So that's why I'm hating. It ain't got nothing to do with, anything with me just hating that I was born way too early. That's all. Way too early.
Yeah. So a couple other things. Let's hit the birthdays, and then we'll circle back to some of the Eagle stuff that we were touching on a little bit earlier. Birthdays. All right. So we got to start with this one. First and foremost, Barrett's former teammate, the one and only, and I mean that, the one and only. RC, Randall Cunningham. Let me be me, back scrambling. Author of some of the greatest highlights that you will ever see. I tell people this all the time. If you didn't watch him play, carve out like 15 minutes and go to YouTube and watch Randall Cunningham highlights, and you will be thoroughly entertained with just unbelievable athleticism.
Yep.
Insane, just football, sort of second nature. The play that he makes in Buffalo, where that Bruce Smith has him dead to rights from behind, and he has that sixth sense to just duck and get out of it, not just avoid a sack and a safety, but to then throw it with 65 yards on his back foot to Fred Barnett is one of the sickest plays you'll ever see.
How about going in?
No question.
Red zone, and I think it's the Giants, and the linebacker runs through him. He gets knocked back.
Carl Banks chops him.
Right, and he puts one hand down,
bounces off,
and jumps up and throws a dart to, I think it was Keith Byers, wasn't
Jimmy Giles.
Oh, Jimmy Giles.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You're right.
Man.
He gets killed, keeps his balance, and then throws it he leads the guy perfectly in the back of the end zone. It's not behind him. It's a rope, a frozen rope. He's
ridiculous.
He was just different, man.
He had one of the most unorthodox throwing motions, but man, he could throw it a country mile.
Yep.
But bruh,
boy, he can load it. He can unload
it was hard blocking for him though, man. Because sometimes I'd have, we'll block for like 15 seconds, and it'll be a sack, and then turn around and we'll block for like 2 seconds, not even 2 seconds, like one. Maybe it was just as soon as it snapped, the guy beats us all, and he scrambles around and throws an 80-yard bomb. You know what I'm saying? So it's like same thing, make you laugh, make you cry.
I always wonder like what he would have been like if he had been drafted by a guy like Andy Reid. Just how he would have, what he would have done for him in his career. One of these other really great offensive minds, back then, Mike Shanahan, whatever. Like some of these guys who would have, I think, groomed him better.
Well, it wasn't until he got Gruden when I played with him my rookie year. And when he played with him, and Gruden started teaching him the basics on how to read defenses, and he started picking up on us later on. But he just wouldn't want to do it at first. He just hell bent on not doing it. And then when he finally started, all right, let me go ahead and get in this. Then you could definitely see the change in his game. And then from there he left, and I think he might have went to Dallas, and then he ended up in Minnesota where he balled out. Had a rejuvenation, a second career.
Yeah, you're right.
And had a loaded team in Minnesota, and they still couldn't do it.
Well, but not his fault.
No, I'm just saying.
It's a shame. Kicker below it. There.
Gary Anderson. Yeah, he was my kicker then. He was my kicker.
Where's he from? New Zealand?
Yeah. South Africa.
He was kicking when I was in Pittsburgh. He was kicking.
Yeah, he was around.
He would talk like their little light voice. Yeah.
He's coming. Somebody's coming. Hey, Barrett. So what's going on, man? He said, "Hey, saving that money, Barrett." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm trying to save it, man. I'm trying to save it."
All right, let's hit a couple others. Mariah Carey is 54 today.
Strong.
One of the all-timers.
Strong.
Kidding me?
Strong.
Oh, yeah. Please. Nathan Fillion, actor. He's good. Very good. He's in a show called The Rookie that's very good. He's 52 today. Fergie. You ever tell my Fergie story? We met Fergie in coming back for Super Bowl 39, Barkan and I, Michael Barkan.
What?
In the airport. So they did, I can't remember. You guys remember that they Black Eyed Peas did they didn't do halftime, but they did something.
Like a pregame show or something.
Yeah, whatever it was. And it's like 5 a.m, we're like bleary-eyed coming back from the Super Bowl. And all of a sudden I'm in the back. Fergie's right behind me in line in the checkout, to go through the metal detectors and all that stuff. And she's like, "Yeah, it's me." I'm like, "Hey, Fergie."
Did you turn around and say strong?
No, I didn't do that. Michael and I were both like, "This is crazy." So we were talking. She was great. She was chatting it up and wasn't too big time for anybody. And I don't know why she was flying commercial. I don't know what that was all about, but anyway, so we met Fergie. So she's surprised
I'm surprised you were flying commercial. You got your own private jet,
Whoa.
The only shot I had on a private jet is with Michael with me. Maybe I would have had a shot, not with me. Quentin Tarantino is 60 years old today. The director,
great director,
all-time resume.
Kill Bill.
Yep.
Oh my God, so mad.
And then what was the one he's most famous for? The
Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fiction.
Yeah. But he's written he wrote Reservoir Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
He a lot of stuff, man. And he directed that. Thousands. It feels like that. Tons of movies. Paulie Perrette, who was an actress, was on the CSIs or NCIS. NCIS. Elizabeth Mitchell, who's an actress, was also in Lost and a bunch of other stuff.
The Purge. Yeah.
The Purge. Yep. David Jansen, old actor from
that show.
Yeah. Was he the Fugitive?
Fugitive. Yeah, he was the original. David Jansen, the Fugitive. Yep.
Great show. The original. Buster Posey, former Giant catcher, is 36 years old today.
I'm surprised he retired as young as he did.
I know. I think he was kind of beat up a little bit. His legs were kind of.
Oh, his knees.
Yeah, oh, yeah. He went through a lot with his legs.
Especially as a catcher, man.
Yeah, that just takes its toll, man.
Yeah.
I put this one in here for Barrett. Cale Yarborough.
Yeah.
So I worked him in. Former racer.
See, Barrett, I like
You my guy, bro.
Anytime we bring in racers, Barrett, I'd like to give you a little history because I know you have such an affection. Did you know Kayla Yarborough is only one of 2 drivers to win 3 consecutive championships? Did you know that?
No, I didn't, but I'm appreciative.
See, I'm here to help you. That's what I'm here to do.
That's above and beyond.
That's great work by you, D-Gun. By you too, Rob.
Thank you. I took care of you. Every time I see a NASCAR guy now, I get it in or Formula One or Grand Prix, whatever. All right. So Dominic Foxworth is 40 today, does a lot of TV, a lot of analyst work.
Great. He's a really good analyst too.
He is good. He's entertaining.
Yeah, I like him. Yep.
Elijah Moore, we talked about a little bit earlier, guys. Formerly of the Jets, 23 today.
Where's he at now?
He got
traded, yeah.
Who? He got traded to Cleveland.
Cleveland. Right. Okay, that's right. Cleveland.
Yeah. What else do I have? Oh, that's all I have for birthdays. What do you guys have?
Art Evans from Die Hard, the security guy, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then he was on MASH and Soldier Story, the Soldier Story. He was on that too. Yeah. So Art. And then my last one is we got London on the tracks. London, he's a famous producer.
Oh, there you
he
go.
Does a lot of stuff. He's 32. So
okay.
That's all I have.
Make it quick, Gunner.
All right, yeah. We're on attack. The great actress Gloria Swanson died back in pitcher Matt Harvey. The great singer Sarah Vaughan. Founding member of Genesis Tony Banks. And Ed Pinckney is 60 today.
Villanova's own. Okay, great. Yep. He was a great college basketball player, Ed Pinckney. Nice guy, too. All right, couple of movies here. White Man Can't Jump.
Great
1992.
Movie.
Great one. Ladybugs with Rodney Dangerfield.
Yep.
And Get Hard from 2015. That was
Kevin Hart, Will Ferrell. That movie is funny. Yeah.
Yep. All right, that's it. We're gonna roll. We will see you guys tomorrow. Go. Thanks to everybody for hanging. Thanks to Tone for producing, doing a great job. All of you in the chat section, all you streaming, listening, we appreciate you. We got Dan Cilio with the National Football Show coming your way right now. We'll see you guys tomorrow at the same time. We are Sports Take. Thanks for hanging, peeps.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.